Good evening, everybody. Greetings from Abha Mission for Social Health and Education and Grads International School to everyone present here. Abha Mission for Social Health and Education is a philanthropist organization dedicated to take care of Mother Earth and her children. Founded by an altruist human being and uh, my dearest Masi, Mrs. Meeta Guha Boshurai, in 2007. Abha Mission has been walking long miles non-stop in the need of human beings, be it individual human being or be it people affected by Ladakh cloudburst, Kashmir floods, cyclone Amphan, or any calamities for that matter. It has adopted a few villages in remote areas and are taking care of education and health in those sectors. Abha Mission has been donated a 5-acre land by the villages of Sundarban area, where we are going to start our flagship project of establishing a community family shelter for children with special needs and to build an old age home where health, happiness, and well-being of senior citizens will be taken care of. Your association and benevolence for this mega project will be highly appreciated. Abha Mission celebrates Dan Utsav every year in the month of October as Dan Utsav and Giving Tuesdays. It is India's biggest festival of giving, in which people come together and perform acts of kindness by giving them time, material, money, or in knowledge in interesting ways to any causes of their choice. If you want to wish to join us, you can let me know. I'm a youth volunteer for Abha Mission and a lifetime volunteer. Now, starting with the program today, today's theme, as we all know, is I am special, so are you. We'll be talking of different difficulties that a child faces during education, during his formative years, or even in later life. A lot of learning disabilities have been common. We all must have watched a film like Tare Zameen Par, where you see other Shil Safari trying hard to learn new things and yet is going through a tough time. I was myself diagnosed with ADHD when I was 13, and I know how it is. Initially, it was very tough, and the days were not very easy. I was told that I was not, I would not sit still at a place. I would run away. I'll not attend classes. I'll not, give up. I am even submitted an empty, file as my homework because I did not know how to deal with it. And when I would come back home, both my parents are very strict. So I would get scoldings from them saying that, oh, no, you're not working hard enough. You should work, you should study, padhai pe man lagao, subah uthoge to sab kuch theek ho jayega and all those things. You should wake up early in the morning and everything else, drink enough water and what else, those home remedies that all parents and teachers give. All my teachers would say the same thing. Anandita is a brilliant student, but she needs to write. She doesn't write in her exams. That is how I was listening to everything. So I would give, perhaps, in a 100 marks paper, I'll attempt an 80 marker and I'll put 60 marks. And 60 out of 80 is not a bad marks. But when you see the overall picture, I think you're just getting a 60% out of 100. After all, 100, the full marks for the exams were used to be 100. And with that, I think one of the biggest ally that I had back then was my mother, who fortunately is with us today as Mrs. Aditi Basuroy. She was a big pillar of my strength. She was the one who said, if we're facing some problems, come and tell us, tell me. I had an ally in her, and I spoke to her, and she found out it was a very difficult journey for her as well, which I think she will also tell us when it's her turn to speak. But at the end of the day, I think I was told that I have something called ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, right? So when usual human being has an attention span of 45 minutes, I have it about 20 minutes. So what a person does for 45 minutes, I can do two things at a speed of 45 minutes. So why not I be someone like, I decided to be multi-talented. So I started learning new skills. I learned photography, I learned painting, I do calligraphy, I do theater, I listen to music, I write my own poetry. I mean, I started going in different directions, you know. And now I call, if you have ADHD, I think it's a cheat code to be multi-talented, because you can, you know, I cook food. I think my both my mother and mother-in-law are speakers today. They will vouch for my good cooking skills, perhaps. But I mean, and I am now multi-talented. And these were small cheat codes to be multi-talented, and that's how I took my ADHD journey as. But I think before we understand ADHD and everything, we need to know what these problems and what are the different problems that a child can face during her school. So with that, I think I'll call upon our first speaker of the day, who will give us perhaps a better understanding of how to speak about it. So I'd like to welcome Mrs. Rakhi Datta. Rakhi Datta, she's presently working as a principal at Cornerstone India Foundation, Greater Noida. She has been a teacher since almost 20 years old. So she wears different hats and also practices psychological counseling and career counseling, apart from being a special educator herself. She's a registered counselor at National Career Services, Ministry of Labor and Employment, and Career Council of India. She's a life member of Association of Professionals and Parents, which is ARPP. She has presented papers in national and international conferences conducted by various institutions. She has also designed workbooks for CWSN and written a chapter on the difficulties faced by focus groups, a book released by AIA Greater Noida, which is Army Institution of Education. So we welcome you, Rakhi ma'am, and hope to learn a lot from you today. And may this knowledge help a lot of young kids who are like me.
Thank you so much, Anandita, for having me here. It's my pleasure that I'm here today amongst all of you. I hope I am well audible. Right? Right. So great. So I'll be presenting a PPT, and I'll be telling a few things which all of you might be knowing out here. So whenever a child goes to school, a mainstream school, attends the school, so like Anandita ma'am shared her journey of one spectrum, which is ADHD. So there are plenty of children, I would say the number is increasing day by day, wherein we try and label all these children as learning disabled, right? But the difficulties they are facing, they are manifold. So it is just not one angle कि बच्चा पढ़ नहीं सकता है, the child is not able to read or write, but there are so many things which go behind that scene where the child is not able to read or write or communicate in a better way. So I'll be touching very few points because I know there are a lot of speakers in the line. So I'll be brief and I'll give other speakers the chance to speak, right? So I'll be doing just the introduction part and I'll be sharing my screen now. If you give me the rights, please.
You can already do that, yes.
Yeah. So let me just put it. Okay. So when I say, or when we read, I'm special. So if we think, all of us are special in some way or the other way, right? So I'm not putting this into a slide share or something. I'll keep it as it is in front of you. If you want to click something, it's up to you. So all of us are special. All of us, if we see, also learn in different ways. The God has not given us all the body parts which are equal. Even the fingers on our hand, they are also unequal, right? So when I say about a child and the child is in the special category or a differently able, and the child is attaining, going to school and facing learning difficulties. So let us see what the child goes through. So during this session, we'll be working upon the introduction part, the symptoms, the plan for the intervention, and we'll go upon the summary. So learning difficulty, as we all know, is popularly known as dyslexia. And it is when it goes to a mainstream teacher. So now I'll be using the term the mainstream teacher and the special educator, because that is what the schools want us to designate the teachers as, right? So whenever we call in the teachers, we say, okay, agar ye special child hai, to ek special educator ko bulaya jaye. So a special educator is required over there, right? But when we say a child is sitting in a classroom, so a mainstream teacher or a regular teacher is taking care of that, right? Now, when that regular teacher is taking care of the entire class and she sees, Arey, this child is not able to understand. He or she is not able to write the answers. So they completely say, I think this child is having dyslexia. So they themselves have that habit of labeling the child straight away without going through what other parameters are there, or whether or not they should label the child, or they should first see what are the reasons behind the child suffering from certain kind of difficulty within the classroom. Okay. So now dyslexia, it is an umbrella term, and the disorder that involves difficulty in reading, writing, comprehension skills, right? Now this difficulty which arises is due to the non-recognition of the speech sounds. And often the teachers in the mainstream school, they see the child is not having the retention part and the recall part. Because teachers want to see what is written on the paper. They don't want to see what is behind or what is inside the brain of the child. They want everything to be produced on the paper, because that's the norm of education these days. Jitne number laega, utna zyada acha brilliant bachcha hai hamara, right? So now, so why? So as a result of individual differences in the areas of the brain. Now, why this dyslexia happens is because certain parts of the brain which process the language, that area of the brain of the child is working differently. All right, it is not working hum jaisa chahte hain wo waisa nahi work kar raha hai, but it is working differently. So as we all know, and the term used in Tare Zameen Par was wiring and chemical locha, right? So it is exactly the same thing, that the wiring in the brain is slightly different from the normal parameter, or parameters. Who has made these parameters? We as individuals have marked these boundaries, and we have said, okay, agar ye bachcha ye karega tabhi wo ek neurotypical कहलाएगा, otherwise a slight deviation, the child goes into the category of special education or a special needs, right? Now, as I said, learning difficulties is an umbrella term. So dyslexia is just one part. The children who struggle with the numbers, they are not able to understand the numbers, or they are not able to take up the concepts, simple additions, subtraction, multiplication, or division. They fall into the category of dyscalculia. Now, these are the different types of learning difficulties what a child goes through in the mainstream schools. All right. And based on that, once we do the assessments, we identify the problematic areas of the child, and then we start working upon that, right? So right now, I'm just telling you about the umbrella term, that is dyslexia, and the various terms associated with dyslexia. So dyscalculia is one, then comes the dysgraphia. हमारा बच्चा लाइन के बीच में नहीं लिख सकता है. Our child is not able to write within the lines. We want a beautiful handwriting, but the child is not able to do it. We want him to write within single lines, and he has a habit of writing in 3 lines. He's not able to hold the pencil properly. He's not able to do the things properly. He's not, if we say a child has to show right, he's showing us the left. So those are also the part of dyslexia, wherein the spatial relations come into play, right? Now, dysgraphia is basically attached with the handwriting ability of the fine motor skills, where the child is not able to work with the fingers, the small grips, and the fine motor skills, right? Then comes the non-verbal learning disabilities, where the child is finding difficulty to take or interpret the facial expressions. अब मम्मा ने घर में कुछ कह दिया, but mama is so angry. She is showing her big eyes ki, oh my God, you are supposed to listen to me when I say something. But the child is saying, oh mama बड़ी बड़ी आंखें करके मुझे कुछ समझाने की कोशिश कर रही है. So we are just joking, we are just playing. Mama has the habit of that. Now the same thing happens in the classroom. The teacher is raising the volume. You are supposed to listen to me when you are in the classroom. But the child says, oh, ये habit तो मेरे मम्मा को भी है. मम्मा eyes दिखाती है, teacher आवाज ऊंची करती है. So she is raising the volume. घर में मम्मा eyes big करके दिखाती है. So the child is not able to comprehend what is required in a particular situation, right? And has a poor coordination. So anywhere the child is required to do something where things have to be coordinated, but the child is not able to do. So all these types of disabilities come under the non-verbal, where the gestures are implemented, right? Then comes the oral and the written language disorder and the reading comprehension deficit. Now, these kinds of deficits are usually, I would say, seen once the child reaches class 3. क्योंकि तब तक till class 2 it is the basic, but after class 3, once the syllabus gets expanded, the child finds it difficult to follow each and everything. Does not have phonological coordination, phoneme, grapheme association is not there. So all these things, they come into the category of learning disabilities. One thing people don't understand is that dyslexia is not a problem due to intelligence, hearing, or vision. So these days, what I have come across personally is teachers feel कि oh ये बच्चे को, if he is not able to read or write, मतलब इसका intelligence level or the IQ quotient is below an average student or an average individual. If a child is sitting in the class not able to copy properly, so they will straight away say, parents, please take your child for an eye test. क्योंकि बच्चा कॉपी में लिख नहीं पा रहा है. They will not make an effort to see whether the child is making similar kind of mistakes in copying from the board. So, सीधा hearing, vision and intelligence पे डाल दिया जाता है, whereas it is not so. Now, when we talk about dyslexia, there are certain symptoms which are known as the red flags. Under 5, they find difficulty in recognizing the alphabets and the phonics, the alphabet sounds. Then the blending of the sounds. I'm so sorry. They have a problem in learning new vocabulary. So, so once the child is having all these issues, that is under 5 years, a parent should be contacted by the school to make them understand कि see, there might be a problem. They should not be saying कि आपके बच्चे के साथ 100% there is a problem, but they have to tell there might be a problem. So these are the red flaggers which I have put in under 5, 5 to 13 and 13 and up, right? So you can go through. So 5 to 13 years, this is the stage where the child is entering class 3 to class 7 or 8. So over there, they are struggling with the math word problems where they have to comprehend what is written in the text, and then they have to write into the numbers, convert those words into numbers, and then they have to do the computations, right? Then specifically at a lower stage, that is under 5, we also see children showing mirror images. D को B लिखेंगे, 7 को उल्टा लिखेंगे, ठीक है? So these are the red flaggers, some of the red flaggers, I would say. And once the child shows symptoms between 5 to 13 also, that is their formative years of education, class 3 onwards. So if a teacher notices all these things in the school, they should definitely seek a special educator's intervention where early intervention can be done and the child can be rectified to an extent. I would not say 100%, and should work upon the strengths of the child. So on observing all the symptoms, as I said, a need for assessment and remediations arises, right? Now, when we talk about the remediation process, we need to know how that intervention should happen. So a complete team of therapists should be there, and a proper planning should happen where the motivating factors for the child should be present. When you are taking up a child suffering from, say, learning difficulties, the child is already having a low self-esteem. The confidence level of the child is 0. So instead of working on the academics first, we need to work upon the confidence level, the communication level, the self-esteem of the child, instead of jumping our guns and saying, pehle aao, 1, 2, 3 pad le, or aapke question answers learn kar le. Then we should have an engaging environment when we should maintain that rapport with the child as a therapist. Incorporate the targeted power mobility skills outlined in goals. So once the child is having that comfort level with the therapist, so we should be able to make the child, I would say, comfortable in learning process. So all these things will happen at a lower stage, that is the early stage up to class 5, 6, not class 5, 6, ages 5 and 6. Play therapy should be incorporated more to teach the concepts rather than using the paper pencil mode, because children, they tend to learn more in the playway method, right? After this stage of making the child comfortable, a proper IEP needs to be formulated where it should incorporate all the areas of the child's growth, including the extracurricular and the non-academic activities as well. Sirf academic pe nahi dekhna hai, we should focus on the interest of the child as well, so that, like Anandita ma'am said, multitasking in every area, teaching and learning the skills, it is a very important part of making the child bring to his or her comfort level to teach that child new concepts. Then the short-term goals should be focused upon. And once the short-term goals are reached, our main focus is that the child should be having a proper mental health, because we don't want a child to suffer mentally just because he or she is suffering from learning disability. So the long-term goal of our IEP should be boosting child's confidence, self-esteem, and making the child independent in whatever he or she wants to. So from my side, I would say this is the brief, whatever I can say about learning difficulties and making it as a disability on a larger scale.
Thank you so much, Rakhi ma'am, for this beautiful
Thank you, Ananta
presentation.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
I think, when we watched Tare Zameen Par, there was a scene where the father is, given a toy, and there was a instruction given in Japanese or Chinese or something. He was asked to read, and he was like, I can't read this. It's like, no, you have to try. Amir Khan insisted on, you have to try. Come on, try it and then read it. And it's like, I don't know the language. He's like, exactly, your son is not understanding the language we are teaching him in, so you have to change the language. The same is your case. So I think, with this, I think it's very, very prerogative for us to first understand the child's problem. Diagnosis is, I think, the first big victory towards a child's help, because once you diagnose the problem, I think it's way easier for us to help the child in that case. So with that thought, we have our next speaker. We have Mukta ma'am here, who is our next speaker. I'll just, 1 second, I have to add her and ask I'll just invite her. One sec, Mukta. So, Mukta ma'am has completed her education in psychology, including bachelor's and master's and MPhil in clinical psychology. She has worked as a counselor for refugees and assisted in psychosocial program for the same. She has continued her journey teaching students in the psychology department of the Gautam Buddha University. So thank you so much, Mukta ma'am. We are glad that you are here with us. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Anvita ma'am. I thank Abha Mission for Social Health and Education, and also Aditi Basu ma'am for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to join today's webinar. So today's topic is I Am Special, the learning difficulties and disability, the right for a student with special needs, special education needs. And this theme is one of the most prominent issues for the society today in the education department, as understanding of people with disability or difficulty. I will be into like changing the words as I go along, and I will be explaining the meaning of the words and as the word also changes. And it's very important that we understand the lens with which we are looking at the phenomena today, and that's the need of the hour. So according to WHO, at some point in everyone's life, everyone is likely to encounter a permanently or a momentarily a condition of difficulty or disability. So disability is a characteristic of humanity. Disability does not define individual. Rather, people with disabilities are diverse. It's not that one aspect, but it is like the multifaceted aspect of an individual. Disability can start at birth, throughout infancy. It can happen during the infancy, when a person is in their working years, or in old age, or they can be obvious or invisible. Sometimes you can't see the disability. The UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability acknowledges that disability is a developing term. It's not a fixed term that we are dealing with today, but it's developing and an evolving term. People with disabilities include those who experience chronic physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment that, when combined with additional obstacles, may prevent them from fully and equally participating in society. This fluid definition for various interpretations of disability or impairment, but by defining disability as an interaction, like it's an interaction which is an ongoing process, it helps us to identify that disability is not a personal characteristic, but it is something about an individual, and there is so much scope to understand about that individual. Diagnosis alone does not predict services needed, length of hospitalization, level of care, or functional outcomes. This means that if we use a medical classification of diagnosis alone, for example, ICD for that matter, we will not have the information we need for health planning and the management purposes. Disability is a multi-dimensional phenomena arising out of an interaction between the individual's health status and the physical and the social environment. Disability data and the instrument to measure them must reflect this biopsychosocial model of disability. The principle that disability is common, indeed universal feature of human condition, rather than the mark of a social minority group. Sometimes people say that people with difficulties, learning difficulties, are belong to a minority group, but that's not what it is. It is a universal phenomena where people have different needs. They have learning difficulties, and they have different needs. Functioning and disability are continuous phenomena, like it's on a continuum level. Matters of more or less. Sometimes our needs are more than what others need, and in certain aspect your abilities can be more heightened. So rather than strictly giving them a dichotomous categories, limit us in defining the disability or learning difficulties. So following these principles, it is necessary to collect information having a comprehensive description of people with challenging abilities. It will help us to rethink the concept of disability and rethink the policies for people with special needs. Thus, we can say that, then finally, if we understand this, then we can say that people are differently abled rather than disabled people. And society then can become a facilitator rather than becoming a barrier. And to support the same, it's an immense pleasure for me to share that at Gautam Buddha University, the Department of Psychology and Mental Health successfully established a Center for Excellence for the Intellectual and Learning Difficulties. The center provides assessment facilities, psychosocial rehabilitation, and disability certification to children and adolescents experiencing learning and intellectual difficulties in congruence with the Mental Health Act and REPW Act of Government of India. The services which are provided includes psychological assessments for intellectual and learning difficulties, neurodevelopmental and other emotional and behavioral problems of the children, such as anxiety disorder, depression, adjustment problems, attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, conduct disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, autism spectrum disorder, and many others. The center also provides a rehabilitation service where the center is equipped with advanced level of cognitive training software. Now there are very advanced level of cognitive training software, which is kind of integrated with the ongoing services which we have. Computer-based training and manual methods of rehabilitative activities, and the center also provides therapeutic services for all kinds of mental health issues, behavioral issues, communication and social issues, and other psychosocial needs. The center is, I think it's one of its kind in providing neural entrainment therapy also for the various conditions. And with these words, I complete what I wanted to share, and I hand over to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
I think Anindita has some problem and she's gone out of the this thing. So I think Anindita is not there. She is facing a lot of issues. So our next speaker will be thank you so much, Mukta ma'am. Mukta ma'am has been our faculty member, a teacher in Gautam Buddha University Psychology Department of Psychology. And then we have after Dr. Mukta, we have a very special guest from far away from Brazil. And I'm so thankful that she has accepted our Andrea. I'm really thankful to you. And she has, Dr. Andrea has accepted our invitation. And she was on the vacation. After that, she returned. As soon as she returned, she accepted our invitation. Dr. Andrea Fedelis is a psychologist, mastered in administration and PhD in organizational strategy and behavior. She works as a researcher on the topics of emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence also. Currently, she is working as a teacher in free courses and emotional care for the adults and counseling groups. She's working with the Education Department of Government of Brazil. So I welcome Dr. Andrea to illuminate us about Brazilian inclusion and how Brazil deals with it and about the global scenario. Welcome, Dr. Andrea. Dr. Andrea, please unmute yourself. Dr. Andrea, please unmute yourself. Hello, Dr. Andrea, can you hear me? Dr. Andrea, can you hear me? What happened to Dr. Andrea? I saw her. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Andrea, unmute yourself. Dr. Andrea, you're muted. Please unmute yourself. Dr. Andrea, you're muted. Please unmute yourself. Oh, acha, she has to be.
Okay. Sorry, I can't open my phone.
Okay, I got it.
My pleasure to stay here. I'm from Brazil, and I will talk to you, colleagues, and like a diseased person. Why diseased person? Because I have a difficult to understand English and talk English well. Please help me to understand you and take a patience with me. I here in my country, we work like you and with disabilities, but I want to take a few words about. I think it is important to work with person with no regular behavior. Why that? Because the word is not the same. One day, one people think, oh, this is the regular. All the people knows, do that, can do that, it's regular, but it's not true. All the people are different. All the people have difficulties. All the people think different. For me, disability people, dyslexia and the other difficult compression is very important in the world, because they remind us, sorry, that the world is not the same, and it's important to accept the others with your singularities. All the people have singularities. It is important to respect that. I have difficulty to talk in English, understand English. Yes, but I am not more or less intelligent than others. I have my difficulties. The other people have difficulties in math. Other people that have difficulties and I don't know, and a kind of the cook or walk or think. But difference is not wrong or difference is not bad, only different. And I think when we work with people different, it's important to remember not only the families, but the world, all the world, that the people, the difference is not bad, only different. All the people are different. Because our work with disabilities is so important, because it's respect the others, respect the individual skills, respect the process, the learning process, respect the others all the time. We need to respect the others. Our word is like a big rule, sorry. All the people need to do the same. It's not good. We're not need the people think the same way. It's not important to all the people think the same perspective. It's important to take the different point of view. For me, this is more important in our work, to choose and look the different point of view. They look the other people with respect, and respect the different skills, the different process of learn, the different way to see the life. For me, it is important. It's my part. It's a short part because I really have difficulty to talk in English and understand. I'm sorry about, but I know that it's, for me, it's more important. My perspective is more important to work with disability, is to look at the of my I forgot the words, to show the world that it is different. It's good, it's not bad, only different. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Andrea. And now I would request our anchor. She is facing a lot of, I think, this problem in this joining and network issues. But anyway, she never gives up. So here she is again. She's a fighter, and here she's again.
Thank you so much.
I hope, Anindita, you made it. So
Yes.
naturally, yes.
Yes,
Take
I
it,
think
take
I
it.
think this is perhaps one thing that I want to share with everyone. Don't give up. Things might get better, you know. Nonetheless, let's move on. Thank you so much, Andrea ma'am, for joining all the way from Brazil. And Andrea ma'am, she's a psychologist, master in administration, and PhD in organizational strategies. She works as a researcher on the topics of emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence, which are very important. You know, apart from IQ, which is emotional quotient, I think these EQ and SQ are equally important for a person's growth. So she is working as a teacher in free courses in emotional care for adults in counseling groups. She's working with the Department of Education in the government of Brazil. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are very blessed to have you us today, all the way from South America. Thank you so much. Next program, let's move on to the next. Next, we have since we talked about technology and so many technological glitches that we all face, but perhaps technology can be an equally big ally. So with us we have Dolly ma'am. Dolly ma'am, are you here? With us we have engineer Dolly Bhasin. I'll just ask her to unmute, and then 1 second. Give me a sec. Yes. Okay. So coming to Mrs. Dolly Bhasin, Engineer Dolly Bhasin, she's a knowledge entrepreneur and has been working on applying technology in social and businesses to help some of the challenges. Applying technology for healthcare has been her passion. She currently works with startups and researchers on artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, which is IoT and AI application in healthcare. So we welcome you, Dolly ma'am, and I would love you to speak.
Thank you, Anandita. Do I have the permission to share my screen?
Ma'am, you can.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are co-host.
Is my screen visible?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay. So, a lot has been talked about mental health since the last two events and today also. So, I am trying to really restrict my talk not to the type of mental health problems, but how do we apply technology? And very specifically, I'm looking at artificial intelligence and virtual reality, how we could really use this to really diagnose the problems, and also trying to really see how we could provide the necessary support system for monitoring as well as for the uh, curative kind of properties for the mental health related issues. So there is a lot of happening activities which are going around in the technology space. One of the main reasons for that happening is because the kind of mental health problems which are happening due to the kind of pressure of business, as well as the societal pressures, as well as the certain disabilities which people have and probably do not have a diagnosis for it, the right diagnosis for it. And they undergo a lot of stress, lot of anxiety due to these causing a mental pressure. And these are not things which cannot be solved. There are some problems which take a long time to really cure. Some do not have a real cure, but they can be suppressed. So the technology provides a way to really monitor these things which cannot be kind of otherwise uh, on the naked eye or by normal observation you cannot find. And that is where I like to touch upon. And one of the other stigmas that people have on the mental health, that they don't really want to share that they have a mental health issue. Even if it is diagnosed, they don't want to share it, and they keep suffering with it for a very long time because they don't trust people that they will not be made fun of, or they are bullied. Students very specifically are very afraid to really sharing their problems. They don't know what is the real problem, as was indicated in the previous by the previous speaker, that there are certain disabilities that people have on the mental health issues, which the child is not really aware of, and he doesn't know how to express it even, because they think that it is very normal for everybody. And this is where a lot of observation is required, especially if the teachers really give the necessary kind of support, or find out if there are some particular behaviors which are not normal, then it is getting reported. And also there is a mechanism which is set so that the other students are sensitized towards it. So I will briefly touch upon artificial intelligence, which kind of products are available for diagnosis. And mostly they are, what I'm trying to touch is basically very, very simplistic products which help you to really kind of use these products incognito, in the sense that you can use these products without divulging your identity, at the same time without really the peer pressure or the kind of so if you have to go to a doctor, then the society thinks that he has uh, some serious problem. So this is the stigma which can be overcome by using the simplistic of the tools, which is the chatbots, which basically allow you to really interact with a robotic kind of bot, which basically helps you to really uncover your mental health, and also provide you with the necessary symptoms. And I will take 3 or 4 products which are being used worldwide. We also have in India a lot of growing sensitization towards these issues, and there is a lot of effort which is being made, but at the school level it is mostly at the learning disabilities area. But there are also many other disabilities which can be mental health issues which can be diagnosed through these specialized AI based applications, as I call it, to monitor the mental health as well as to really provide some curative. I'll briefly also touch upon the self-managing AI apps as well as wearables. So the combination is called the medical device, which is basically to actually help you to provide the curative and self-management by the product itself. And I'll touch briefly on this also. So next I am So one thing we need to really very clearly understand that mental health is not a destination but a process. It's about how you drive, not where you are going. So this is a very famous quote. I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman, but this is something that really needs to be understood, that it's not something that is going to go away. You have to really see how to manage the problem rather than how do you really solve it completely. So why the AI chatbots is something I have already indicated. Today the need of the medical health services basically surpasses the availability of people in distress, and the AI bots or online is the recourse towards this particular problem. So during the pandemic, it has been actually escalated so much so that it's very difficult to really find the right people to help you. And even if they are available, it's at time very exorbitant to really manage to take care of the solution. So chatbots is the option, which are basically based on artificial intelligence. In some, there's also a human element involved, especially for the moderate to mild related symptoms. But the question basically is to how do you automate the expertise which is needed, which is near effective as a therapist. So using some sophisticated algorithms and programming, where humans spend a lifetime trying to master these skills, are incorporated into something which are called the machine learning models. That means the machine is made to understand the behavior, and then it just try to replicate that through this thing. So the entire behavior of the person in general, a normal person, is a model is made, and if there is any deviation, it is tried to really be helped through the particular mechanism of chatbots. So initial studies have shown that it's a very promising effort. And just to get a sense that sometimes when you really look at measuring a person's response, the same person's response through chatbot as well as the physical therapist, there are almost similar results. So I am going to really showcase a few products that I have come across. There are many, I must say, but one of the most prominent is the Voibot. Now, Voibot is a fully automated conversational agent. This was developed by Voibot Labs in San Francisco, and As you clicked on a button to say hello while you are browsing on your laptop, you given all the options to connect via either Facebook or anonymously, or via your devices, iPhone or Android. So it is completely up to you whether you want to disclose your identity or you don't want to disclose your identity. This particular product has been there for a very long time, and recently they have also diversified into trying to really solve problems for specially abled people, as well as certain very critical issues in terms of the cognitive behavioral therapy, using cognitive behavioral therapy. So Voibot also promises that it's a very, it allows you a complete trust for your intimate and personal information, the way you can trust a human therapist. And that's something that for which they have gotten FDA approval, which is the stringent, very stringent norms. And recently they have just got a FDA approval for this. So Voibot is a user friendly, and it begins with a very short survey of questions, basically meant to really see the areas that you actually wanted to work on. Like, for example, if you have a learning disability or you have XYZ, whatever are your problems, it's like those questions are asked. And then additionally, based on the confidentiality kind of statement, you also get a very clear distinction that this is not a therapy, it is not a replacement of a human support, but it also gives you the instructions for whenever you have an emergency situation. So I'm sorry. So VISA basically, So Wipeout basically works like a very, I would say, with a sense of humor. It has skills, which is basically what is called machine learning, that it identifies your mood with the support system that it has, using emojis and various other graphical interface, where whatever are your thoughts, your moods are basically learned by the system, which helps them to really filter out the person who is interacting. Actually, it helps that person to filter out the problems which are real problems, and other thoughts which are actually distortions of the kind of your so sometimes people feel that I just cannot do anything, I should you have suicidal tendencies. So those kinds of things are averted, and this is a very, very interesting thing to really note that now this has been used, this particular product is being used for actual medical purposes, and it's been certified. So in other words, basically what Voibot does is it uses the cognitive behavioral therapy, which is an evidence-based approach to treatment. And it's more like an interactive quiz or a game rather than a chat. And the app actually requires you to really do a daily check-in, and begins with a question about where you are, what you are doing, but it doesn't push open-ended questions, so that it's not something that people don't like to go back to, and allows them to be themselves, just like you really have a WhatsApp, or you go and see your messages, and then if there are something that you need a response to be given, you give it or you don't. So it uses that kind of approach, and mostly it uses emojis and very, very simplistic methods of giving the inputs, which do not really challenge the person who is actually using it. So over the time, so what Wipeout does is to really chart these moods or the emoji responses through a visual trend. and really see the behavioral pattern of the people who are using it. And this is where you should I mean, it gives a lot more benefit to the person by being very normal, at the same time getting the right kind of necessary support system at the back end. And now that it has been it is started to be used by medical practitioners as a licensed medical product, medical device, there is a lot more that the data that is being collected, being shared with the therapists, so that as a therapy, proper therapy can also be given apart from the main product. So this is the screenshot of how the Webot Health looks like. And so what it basically, their tagline is it's a best listener in the business. So it basically listens to the person. What is that is going behind the person's mind, and it is done through very subtly, without the person being overwhelmed with lot of questions or lot of so lot of tactics are being used, which are also clinically tested, by the way. So the other product which I have had a chance to look at is Visa. Visa is a playful artificial intelligence penguin that operates on iPhone and Android platform. So initially, Visa also asked some of the standard questions, which actually builds a toolkit, which is basically to gear towards giving the person a better focus and to manage the conflict and relax. So this is a toolkit which is generated after the first or second interaction, and the system learns that these are the kind of challenges that needs to be addressed for that particular, so there is a diagnosis behind it. And then there are certain exercises that are given, which are based on the practice of mindful meditation or evidence-based approach for managing the various psychological issues, especially anxiety. Some yoga poses also may be suggested, and this is a very, very interactive and a visual form, more like a gamified scenario where there are, you feel like you're playing a game rather than actually going through a therapy. So one of the things that Visa provides is a skill in CBT, that is the cognitive behavior therapy, is for restructuring the thoughts. The platform is very user-friendly, attractive, as well as it also gives the user a chance to, on the same time, maybe in the evening or morning, whatever are this thing, it will nudge you with certain kind of pointing questions or pointing things like, have you had your tea or coffee, or very simple questions which you feel as if you're talking to a friend rather than a bot. So but sometimes the shortcomings is basically that the conversations becomes like a scripted conversation, and that is what sometimes the people complain about it. But Visa is meant mostly to help users who have mild depression and anxiety, and it's programmed in that manner that you're not speaking to a bot, you are speaking to a friend. And especially the bot has a lot of intelligence to really create humor around the situation. It's very impressive how the Visa understands what the user is saying without actually saying it in the kind of manner that others will understand. So it's a real life coach also available, which is a paid version if you want a real life coach to really assist in this particular process. So this is also a product which has got a FDA approval. That effectively means that it could be used by medical practitioners and has been the winner of a lot of awards from the World Economic Forum and others. their main strength is basically mental health support for everyone. And it's uses this approach through a self-managing stressors by blending AI guided listening and professional experts to support anonymous 24/7 availability and clinically safe. The third product that I'd like to really showcase is a Joyable. This is an online platform as opposed to the others, which are more of apps. This is again works on a CBT approach only, but this has a lot of scientific background behind it in terms of understanding the the particular problem, mental health problem, as well as the feedback mechanism which is there, and also how you are feeling, the kind of mood that you are in. The approach is slightly different, that it actually helps you to develop a lot of reasoning behind the way you are behaving. So mostly meant for people, adults, not so much for the children, but this actually helps them through what is called the psychoeducation. That means there are certain traits that you have, a person with mental illness has. Why it is being exhibited is also taught to the person during the course of the, and this is a mechanism which is very, very I would say it's like coaching, coaching a very, very structured program, which allows there is a 8-week structured program in which at various stages, various other activities are done to really ensure that you can actually observe the difference from the beginning to the end of the program. And it also currently allows non-licensed healthcare professionals to be on the platform, but now it also kind of allows the healthcare practitioners also to practice on this, which is a costly affair. This is almost, it costs $99 per month, though there is a free trial version. But it's been fairly well recognized, and now I think they have changed the name of the chatbot. The chatbot is now a full-fledged platform. Joyable was the initial name, and Able to is the new name for the product. So during the entire time, that is the number of weeks that you take up that program for, the 8-week program, has very, very fixed 10-minute activities, one-to-one coaching, weekly mood tracking, and there are a lot of activities that are done to really find out what is the kind of mental status of the person without their knowing it. And so during the 8 weeks, most of the people really understand why they are behaving the way they are behaving and what is the root cause of their problem, which is done in a very, very systematic manner. So if there are people who are good at following a structured approach, that means that people who are adults or who know how to do self-managed programs, very disciplined, they have great results with this. And again, as I said, that this product also has been a very award-winning product for its own merits, and a lot of people have benefited from it. The last product that I'm going to talk about is the Talkspace. Now, this is an online therapy platform with only licensed health professionals. So that means it is actually it's like a marketplace where you can talk to a professional that you need, and the system will actually suggest you the kind of therapist that you need, and then you choose which therapist that you want, and have a understanding with the therapist, and you can the mental health counselor will actually the system gives you the nearest health counselor which is available near your vicinity, and the entire onboarding process is very, very personalized, very supportive, and also very, very expensive. So the fees is the highest of it's almost $260 per month, with unlimited messaging therapy. Plus, within a plan, if you consider physical visits to the therapist also, you can do that, which can be scheduled on the system, which is very expensive otherwise. So these are some of the tools, and why I have chosen all these four. All the four have different kind of a way of really looking at the problem, but most of them are really looking at the first three are looking at the cognitive behavior therapy, that is evidence-based therapy. So how you play a game, how you talk, how you behave. With those questions that are asked, how do you respond to humor, is all the kind of hidden things which are basically used to understand your mental health. And all the activities which are actually happening while you're interacting with the system, it's learning and updating itself, and a very, very personalized uh, treatment is given, sometimes which is aided by proper clinicians or health professionals. So very, very useful for employee stress check, mental health professionals, basically for the mental health checkup. So once in a year, every company is now mandated to really provide a mental health checkup. It's also started happening in India. We've seen companies like Vedanta actually doing during the mental health week, which was within this month itself. There was a proper 1 week program which was to really they conducted a mental health checkup for all their employees or whoever wanted to really get it done. So the new trend, I mean, this is a very good mechanism, but what we have seen over the years, that the acceptance of pure chatbot or pure tools which are based on a kind of permissioned system sometimes do not give you the right kind of information, because the person can fake those symptoms which are yeah. So there is a new trend which is there, which is to really use medical devices or wearables, as we call them. We must have seen the Fitbits and the various IoT based devices which actually capture the biomarkers. Biomarkers are certain pointers. For example, if you want to measure the temperature, you see the pulse and you use the thermometer. Likewise, there are multiple biomarkers in your body which have a certain certain measure in a standard situation. Likewise, for mental health, there are certain parameters which are there, which are basically tracked by so-called sensors, which help you to really understand what are the kind of real values of those biomarkers, and then they are then monitored over a continuous period, and whenever there is a change in those parameters, there is an alert which basically alerts the person or the person who is designated person. That means if I am wearing it, then I can define that my brother or my sister or my teacher, whoever is the person, should be alerted that there is a problem that is happening in the mental biomarkers. And this is where the world is moving. WISA has been doing this by creating breakthrough device designation for its digital cognitive behavioral therapy. The app actually manages the chronic pain and associated depression and anxiety. So they have taken one particular biomarker, which is basically if you have some kind of chronic pain, and that gives a lot of depression and anxiety. So there are cancer patients who have severe problems. So the biomarkers are set for this thing, and the constant monitoring of and the therapeutics. So this is called the digital therapeutics, which basically allows you to really provide a digital recourse to the problem, both from the point of view of diagnosis and then the therapy. So the other startup or other company that has been working on and the behavioral health offering, especially addressing the mental health on the stress management or more severe conditions like depression and substance use disorder. Uh, this is also just last month or so, they have released oncology care problem. And this is basically for cancer patients. And cancer patients have a lot of problems, lot of mental stress. So these products are being used and certified by international agencies like FDA and others to really solve some of the very specific, what we call the narrow AI, where you are really looking at one particular area of problem, which is basically giving you mental health related issues, and trying to find curative solutions to the digital mechanism. I have been working with two startups, one from Korea, one is MIJ. This is a company which is working on a particular problem that people who are exposed to a lot of noise in the industry or due to aging, they have a certain kind of ringing sensation in their ear. This is a particular problem which is called tinnitus. This tinnitus causes a lot of it just doesn't go away, and it's a constant ringing in your ear, which causes a lot of mental stress and lot of pain to the person, and it leads to a lot of suicidal tendency to the. And I've seen that in reality, that people just do not want to live anymore because of this particular problem. It reaches to that stage that you have a constant ringing and you can do nothing about it. You can't really shut away your problem, and there is no cure. So this company over the last 5 years has been researching on this problem, and they have designed specialized medical device for it, which constitutes an app. And so I've just mentored some of these startups to really position them for the Indian market, so that they can actually, these products can be brought into India for the Indian side. Likewise, there are other startups, one more from Korea that I have mentored, is looking at the problem for the youth. The Gen Z is today really addicted towards mobile phones. And if they have a hearing problem, they have a lot of difficulty in using the mobile phone and the hearing aids. So it's become a stigma that they don't want to really show that they have a hearing problem, but they suffer because of it. So this is a product which has been designed, which is basically, it can be controlled, and it's a same, it looks like a ear pod, and you could use it both for the mobile phone listening. That means if you want to just enhance the volume of your listening on Bluetooth or responding to a phone call. At the same time, it also allows you to really look at the other voices amplified from the surrounding, which is what the hearing aid does. So there are many other products in the learning disability, each one addressing a different aspect. And this is where the world is going, that apart from the physical behavioral therapies. There are specialized medical devices which are coming up, which help to find out what is the severity of the problem that a person faces, and to be able to constantly monitor it and see provide the necessary therapy, whether it is done through the digital means or whether it is done through the. So this is where I'd like to end, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I am not very sure whether I went beyond the the interest of the people, but these are some thoughts. I can speak for hours on this subject because this is one of my favorite subjects, and I've actually been helping startups to design products around these areas, especially for cancer and the hearing related problems. Thank you very much, Aditi ji, for giving me an opportunity, and hope that it was beneficial to the listeners here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dolly ma'am. That was indeed very insightful, and that was indeed very useful for a lot of us. And thank you so much for joining. I think we'll store the questions for the end because a lot of speakers are still waiting for their chances to speak. Next, I have a very dear friend and I would say a mother to a special child, Neha, with us. Neha, are you there with us?
Yes.
Yes. So we have Neha with us. I'll quickly introduce Neha. One second. Oh, sorry. Yes. So I'll quickly introduce Neha. Neha is a researcher in historical studies and is currently doing her PhD in the Department of History and Culture from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. She has taught history at Gautam Buddha University and has authored papers and books related to historical studies. She became a mother in her early 20s, and she has now a very lovely 6-year-old son, Noah, who has some learning difficulties. She will now throw some light on various difficulties that she as a mother faced. She's a working mother herself. Neha, over to you with your difficulties, your challenges, and how you overcome them and all that.
Thank you so much, Anandita. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning to Andrea ma'am, as it is morning in her part of the world right now. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Grads International School, Abha Mission, and Aditi ma'am for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And thank you all the speakers for sharing oceans of knowledge today. It has been very, very beneficial for me. And as you heard in my introduction, thank you for the generous introduction, Anindita. I'm a historian by training, so I'm not formally trained into psychology or into learning disabilities. But it is through my child, who is a neurospecific kid himself, that I came to know a little bit about how to deal with such kids. Because it is so, whatever I'll be sharing today is part of pure experience. I don't have a formal training in psychology. And if I surpass and speak something which is incoherent to theoretical psychology, please forgive me for that. But I'm looking forward to share my experiences with everyone so that the parents struggling out there who are in similar situations like me can get some help and get some clue in this difficult situation. My son was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 3.5. He's 6 now. He was a perfectly healthy kid and achieved all the milestones perfectly till the age of 2. Since we lived in a nuclear family and we were parents for the first time, it became very difficult for us to compare my son Noah to the other kids around, because we didn't actually have so many kids around. We were bringing him up in a very nuclear setup. So it was around his second birthday when I was planning about his second birthday and planning to call up kids his age. I came to know that kids his age were actually putting up 2 to 3 words together to form sentences and to address their needs, and were able to communicate and articulate. But my son, all he had was a vocabulary of just 2 to 3 words. So I was sure about that my son could hear and he could speak. But there was something wrong, that he was not speaking as much as other kids his age were speaking. So that was my first red flag. And so I took him to his pediatrician, who was seeing him since his birth. I told him about the issue. The pediatrician was of the view that since the child is very young, he's only 2 and has been a full-term baby, has been heavier and taller than most of the kids his age. So he's a typically developing child, and therefore maybe there is just no reason for his speech delay. It is just a delay. Some kids are late talkers, and he also said that especially there is a trend in nuclear families in the urban areas, that the boys especially tend to talk a little later. So maybe your child will catch up by the age of 2.5 or 3. So I had to wait for like a few more months before I could go anywhere to find what was wrong with the condition, what was wrong with my son. And then I also put him into a play school, which was near to my society. I thought maybe mingling with the kids of his age would help him grow socially, and would help him grow into his, would help him in growth of his language skills. But that did not happen. So, and unfortunately, the school where my kid used to go, which was near to our place, did not have trained teachers who could understand the issue. So all we could do was, unfortunately, even his teachers were as clueless as me. So all they could do was, when I met them or asked them about Noah's behavior, they could say he doesn't talk, he doesn't meet anybody, he's not interested in his peers, and he just goes to the school, sits there, and comes back. So he was gaining nothing from his school. So I was in an area of distress and problem, and I didn't actually understand what to do. None of the teachers or anybody over there suggested about getting an ASD diagnosis or getting an ADHD diagnosis. And at that time, I did not know much about the condition. So for me, it was just a speech delay. So we waited for a few more months, and at the age of 2.5, I took him to one of the very famous private hospitals in Delhi NCR. And all I could see was that my son was not speaking, because he was doing all, like, for me, there was no other problem. I did not understand the learning. I did not understand the neurological part of it. So I took him to the speech language pathologist. And surprisingly, the speech language pathologist over there told me that since my son was able to point out to an apple and a mango that she has on the puzzle board, so she said to me that, your child looks intelligent, which is a very surprising statement, and therefore he might not have anything which is neurological, so don't worry about it. And I came back, and the journey was on. Noah was still not speaking and still not social. Yeah, he had learned a little more than he could do before, but there was no significant progress. So in that way, we celebrated his third birthday as well. And we were still searching for what is wrong, that he's not communicating or is interested in his peers. So then all his play school peers were about to go to the new school, like the normal typical school. So I also wanted to admit Noah into a normal typical school, because he was already 3, and my search for school began. It was a difficult thing to do because my son was not speaking so much and was not understanding the world around him. He would just play for us with his cars, because that would interest him a lot, with his transport vehicles, and would not even address his demands. So meanwhile, with great difficulty, I was able to toilet train him. And it was a very difficult task, because the child did not communicate, did not understand social cues, but somehow that happened. And then since his gross motor skills were good, so he was able to balance a 2-wheeled scooter, and he was able to cycle well. So those were his recreational activities, which we depended on to calm him, cool him. So finally, when we got him admitted into a school in Noida, which was run by an educationist who was very keen on such problems of children, and who decided and who was very welcoming towards Noah. So when we got him just admitted over there, the lockdown began, and Noah was 3.5. So the school only provided offline facilities, because they did not believe in the online mode of education. And my son was very untrained. He was just 3. He did not know how to communicate or talk. So it was very difficult to put him through the online mode of education. So I was stuck again and didn't know what to do. So I was just having those flashcards and those board books that I depended on. And I tried to connect to him as much as possible, but did not know the tools to connect to him, because I'm a historian by training, and I don't know about the psychological tools of it. Fortunately, the breakthrough came up when Noah was 3.5. A family friend during the lockdown suggested a psychologist whom I connected through online mode. The psychologist was the first person to speak about the probabilities of an ASD or a hyperactivity connected to ASD that my child could have. So we took a test with her, online. And then he was diagnosed at the age of 3.5 on an online mode during the lockdown, to be having autism spectrum disorder and connected hyperactivity because of it. And he was actually placed in the range of mild to moderate autism. But people well equipped will know that even people in mild autism face a lot of issues with their day-to-day life. So then the journey began. But it was the getting the diagnosis done was a very, very happy and fulfilling moment, because then we knew what we could do for our child. Otherwise we were clueless about what to do. So then me and my husband studied and looked for every article, every blog that we could have our hands upon, and we just read about it. We saw videos, we ordered books to read about the therapies, because it was still the lockdown. May 2020 was still the lockdown, and we were not able to give him any kind of a physical, like, social therapy, because it was the era of social distancing. And I think the social distancing times had done the worst for these kids who were socially awkward already. So then the conditions relaxed a little bit. So we took him outside. We met a lot of people. We took him to therapists. And then it was only in the beginning of 2022 when I decided to put him, when the lockdown was completely kind of over. And then we decided to put him into school because he was already 5. And and after his diagnosis from the psychologist, she had trained me into training him using flashcards. I could make him identify objects. So I took flashcards of everything available. I took board books, and Noah's vocabulary significantly increased because of the hard work that we were doing with him. And then he had more better eye contact, and he was able to sit for half an hour. He was able to sit for 45 minutes. So his sitting improved, his eye contact improved, and he had a huge vocabulary by the age of 4.55. So then we took him to different therapists, and there is a basic need that even the therapists demand, that the child should have a sitting time, or the basic school demand, because if there's no sitting time that the child has, it's really difficult to teach the child. So then from 2022, we went to the GBU OPD. I was teaching history at GBU, so it was very close to where I stayed. And in GBU OPD, Noah got his ASD certificate, and he got his first offline diagnosis, because the earlier one was an online diagnosis. And then the journey began again. We got behavioral therapists from there, from GBU OPD, who had helped Noah thrive. And then we got him connected to a speech language trainer from one of the private centers in Greater Noida. She was immensely helpful and is very, very kind of empathetic and loving towards all her students. We also got a special educator at home to help Noah with his studies. And slowly and steadily, with an effort of a few months and a multi-pronged approach, we were able to achieve a lot of milestones. In July 2022, Noah was admitted into an inclusive school in Greater Noida. And since then, we have, attained certain milestones, which are we have attained certain milestones, like he can follow multiple commands today. In his school, he also attends occupational therapy class. And at other times of the school, he is educated with the neurotypically developing peers of his. So he has a better eye contact today. He lets us leave the house by waving a goodbye, as compared to earlier, where he had a huge separation anxiety. Now he understands the world a little better. He looks forward for school. He is very happy. It is very, very difficult for us to keep him home, because he really looks forward to school. And that also shows what a good inclusive school with good facilities for these kids could do. It could do wonders and change the world of these kids. So earlier he had huge issues getting haircut or nail cut, but those sensory issues have also gone to a large extent. He answers questions asked by his teachers, the basic ones regarding the color and the shapes and the alphabets and the Varnamala and the basic counting, matching, etc., which is like sort of age appropriate, if not very age appropriate. And the biggest milestone that we were able to achieve, and for that I would be very, very thankful to his special educator, was the fine motor skills training, because that was one thing me as a parent was not able to achieve at all. I was able to achieve eye contact, identification, vocabulary, but somehow the motor skill training was very, very difficult one. So that was done by the special educator. And now thankfully Noah has switched from those blackboard writings to writing those tiny letters and alphabets on notebooks and papers. He can color on notebooks and papers. He has attained a fine balance with his pencil. He can do most of his toileting activities appropriate to his age, like wash his hands, brush his teeth, because even these things are difficult for kids who are in ASD spectrum. It might be very easy for us to say, there are many people who I meet around कि इतना बड़ा हो गया because he is already taller his age, then इतना बड़ा हो गया अभी तक ये नहीं कर पाता, अभी तक आप ये कराते हो, because people in our part of the world, I think, are not aware of the problems that parents might go through. And one of the biggest problems with ASD is like, people with other special abilities would be visible, like somebody who is blind would be visible, somebody who does not have a leg would be visible to other people, and they would be empathetic towards them. But people in the autism spectrum disorder are usually not visibly specially abled, so they are taken as normal people, and if they do something which is not socially acceptable, then people think that he's just a bad kid, a very mischievous kid, and why is he doing so? People don't actually understand that there is something that the child is dealing with which is very, very difficult for him to manage. And he can speak much better than before, but his language training needs to be worked on even more. That is the good side of the story, but he still faces a lot of challenges which we are working on, hoping to make him understand the world better. He doesn't seem to be very interested in his peers. He plays with elder kids. He doesn't understand social games that much. He can be hyperactive and impulsive sometimes and jumps around. He can run around or scream without much reason, and we have to make him walk for 4 to 5 kilometers with us in order to get him calmed on certain days. So he gets anxious to allow a doctor or a dentist for a checkup. He's friendly but does not understand the social cues very well. For the parent who have young children with the following red flags like speech delay, eye contact, hyperactivity, sensory problems like closing eyes or ears on seeing or hearing lights and sounds, respectively, you should immediately visit a psychology OPD and do the tests on advice from the trained professionals. Kids on ASD spectrum also have several assets which parents and teachers can use, like they're specifically focused on certain topics. Like for my son, it is the transport. He knows everything about transports, road transport, water transport, air transport, things that I learned in my 20s. He already knows those. So I can use his cars and transport objects to teach him a lot of educational concepts, and his teachers do the same. And they have a very good memory, so you can bank upon their memory. They like routines, so they are usually disciplined individuals, so they have a lot of assets to bank upon. And if a kid is in ASD spectrum, it does not necessarily mean that the kid also has a low IQ. That's very important to know, because most of the times they have sensory issues due to which they are awkward. Most of them have normal IQs like us. They are great visual learners and would learn better through visual aids. The kids only need us to understand them. We as a society need to know about the prevalence of such conditions and be a little more open minded and open hearted about them. We are in this together. If they develop, we develop. A little effort in trying to understand them would make things a lot better for them. They can be taught vocational and professional skills to be self dependent and lead a very fulfilling life. If your kid is in ASD spectrum or has an ADHD, people will judge you or your kid. There might be onlookers when there is a sensory situation. We as parents only have to be concerned about our child's development, only have to be concerned about giving a good quality of life to our kids. Our journey with our son has just begun because he's only 6. So I would look forward to gems of knowledge from all of you, and to look forward to stay connected with all of you who are doing such specialized works in the field of learning for differently abled kids. And thank you, congratulations all of you for doing such a good work, and congratulations Aditi ma'am for giving us such a great platform. And with whatever little knowledge I have gained as a young mother to a 6-year-old kid with ASD, I am always ready to share any of my knowledge if it could be helpful to any parent or anybody who is suffering from this situation. Thank you so much.
Very good, Neha. I'm really touched, and I'm really thankful to you for sharing your experiences. I think it's awakened and it is enriched, all the present here. So I would request Anindita to carry forward.
Thank you,
Anindita, unmute. So on wonderful. I'll invite you to my to my home, everywhere, to my school, to my home, everywhere. I'll invite you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you.
Aditi ma'am, I think Anandita ma'am can't unmute herself. please make her co-host actually.
Anindita, just give me a minute because you are, going out as a typical ADHD child. You are going just running out of the class in the class. And the teacher is, we are not, as she said, she's an historian and history student, and she knows. And I'm also, lost. When are you out of the class? Chasing you. When you are out of the class, when you are getting in. So again, I'll make you a host. Just give me a little time.
Sure.
Just.
Okay, no problem, but I can speak now. I think with all the I think I'm quite an outstanding student that way. As you're saying, I'm standing out. I'll put myself that way. So with the outstanding skills that I have, welcome back, and thank you so much, Neha, for sharing your experiences. I am sure things are a little better in this decade, because Noah is next generation and I was a previous generation kid. Things are a little more easy this generation, and things were a little more difficult, perhaps in my generation when we were, struggling the same way. But thanks to lovely teachers, and because there is a lot more awareness than what I think. Awareness is one thing that is required these days, and it's very, very required. At the end of the day, awareness is what helps all of us to sink and sail through. So with that idea, I think we have our next guest right now. She's been waiting for a long time with a very big smile on her face. So Dr. Jyoti is here with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think before Dr. Jyoti, can we listen to Abdullah's mother?
Yes, we can
Afshan?
listen to Afshan ma'am too. Yes.
And Dr. Jyoti after that.
No issues,
Okay.
ma'am.
Because you
No.
were a professor, so.
No problem. So then from one mother to the other mother, perhaps let's listen to Afshan ma'am. Mrs. Afshan Batul is with us here today. Hello ma'am.
Everybody. There is a little bit net problem from time, so please don't mind if I'm not audible sometimes. So here it is. My name is Afshan, and I am a mother of a very sweet, good at heart, and a very naughty and rebellious child. That is Abdullah. Abdullah is a very student, and when Abba used to be, now he's a very good student, but earlier that is not the case. When Abdullah was born in 2013, everything is fine with us. Like he responds to everything. He just eats, sleep, and everything is fine. But slowly, as he grows, he started facing some problem. Like he's not able to convey himself. What he's trying to say. He's not able to convey what he's trying to say. There's a speech problem. He's seeing the speech problem with him. So that was a very much that created the very much problem for us. Why child is having so much problem in speech? He's fine at everything. He's listening. He's dancing. He's watching movies with us, but he's not able to convey himself. There's a problem in getting his things done, or what he's trying. He's facing problem in every day-to-day life. So we are very much anxious as a parents. When he was born, he was bundle of joy for us, and anything associated this informity associated with him is just not tolerable for us. So one of my friend suggested that we should consult a speech therapist for him. So we went to the speech therapist. He get him the speech therapist tested him, and she told us that he is having speech delayed problem. All the kids are having normal speech at by the age when he's I think he's a 3+ year. He's a 3+ at that time, and he's not able to convey like I want to do this. Ya mummy mujhe ye chahiye. Ya papa mujhe ye chahiye. He's like and all that. He's not able to convey the whole of the sentence what he's want. So we got him consulted by the speech therapist. She's a very good speech therapist, and she's resides at Greater Noida, I think. So we got him tested, and his speech therapies went on for 2 or 3 months. And after that, he's just too weak. He was not like very much adept. He was not very much adapted at that, but he was somehow improved from the earlier times. Like earlier, he is not able to convey anything, but after getting after getting the therapy, he was able to convey. His therapy improved very much. So with the passage of time, we are just happy with him. Okay, that's fine now. He's fine. Now, by the age of 4, we got him admitted to the very good school, that is Grads International School at Greater Noida. And we are very much happy that finally we got him admitted. Now he's going to the school. He will make the new friends and he will enjoy his life. But slowly and still, like when he was attending the class, teachers the videos teachers used to send the videos of everything, every activity students perform in the class. So teachers was sending the videos of Abdullah and was saying that he is very mischievous and harming other kids. Firstly, I am not able to believe it, but some of the teachers sent me the video that he is very mischievous and he is very rough in class, and he's harming the other kids, and he is just pushing and pulling and all the kids. So I was surprised. There's one video I just lost the clip of that madam. That at that time there was Shmita ma'am. He was in grade nursery or LKG. There was a Shmita ma'am at the grad school, and she sent me the video. And she said, "Ma'am, please look at the video. What Abdullah is doing. What Abdullah was doing." And he was just pushing the chair and moving it, and he was just creating a ruckus in the class. So I was very much alarmed. I was like, what's happening to my son? इसपे कोई भूत तो नहीं चढ़ गया है? Why? How he was behaving? क्या हो गया इसको? तो फिर जब when he just came home, I was very much like surprised and very much sad by his behavior in the class. So much and was just thinking what I will going to do. Then thanks to the principal of Grants International School, that is Aditi ma'am, that was she was the savior at that time, and she suggested me, please go for the therapy. Please get him counseled by some psychologist. So I just went to the counseling. I just went to the counselor. There is a Cornerstone, that's counseling place. So I went there, and the Abdullah was tested on a lot of things. Like he was tested on how he behavioral issue and speech and all that. And when what was diagnosed, that he was suffering from ADHD plus some behavioral issue, because he was not paying attention in the class. He was always moving and just moving here, and all these kids are sitting, but he was not sitting and he was not paying attention. And teachers was very much like he was creating ruckus in the class, and it was very much sad with him. So I got him tested at this Cornerstone, and what was the outcome? That he was suffering from ADHD plus behavioral issue. So we ran through some counseling sessions, and still he was doing the. Now he was 9 years old, and at the age which was 6 years. At the age 6, we started the counseling, and now he's 9 years old. He's doing counseling at the school, and now he's fine. He's improving. There's a much, but there's still there's a lot of room for the improvement, because he's growing up, and still a lot of attention. Like there's some behavioral issue plus stubbornness plus ADHD. So I have to deal with him in my way. Like I can't deal with him like other kids. The problem which Neha ma'am is the same problem with me. Like she was telling me that her kids is having a speech delay problems plus attention deficit. Same is the problem here. So Abdullah is having the same problem, but now he has improved much thanks to the school, thanks to the principal Aditi ma'am, and thanks to the cornerstone which where we have sent his from the counseling. And I just want to know that these kids needs time, plus these kids needs behavior, love. That's all I want to say. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Aditi ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Afshan ma'am. I think, I can very well relate to Abdullah's situation. I mean, there were regular complaints at my place also. कि आपकी बेटी सबका गाड़ी साफ करते करते जा रही है, I I had this habit. I had this PT uniform is completely white, right? So I would clean the cars of the neighbors and they would come back home. Or
Frank, like what you are
absolutely,
what you have done.
And absolutely, and as my mother said, right, I'm quite an outstanding student. I was like, if you remember Rancho from Three Idiots, I was more like that. Is class mein achhi period chal rahi hai, the history. I was very much intrigued with history as well. That's how Neha and I got really close friends and everything. So I was like, yeah, acha history padha rahe, ye baith ke sunte, I'll sit there, and I would sit in some elder classes, and the teachers would be like, but you are in class 9th, go back to your class. So I will almost like that, and I'm still very much like that. It's all, and that's why I'm saying, kids like this have to be treated as if they are multi-talented, and knowing both Noah and Abdullah to be warm-hearted people. They're very warm, they're very, very welcoming, they're very nice and sweet,
warm-hearted, but they are just very much like temperament, a bit temperament, but provoked easily.
I understand. I completely understand. Absolutely, Sharma, I completely understand your problem, because I am on this child spectrum here, and I can understand even Abdullah's thing, because we may or may not want to be like that, but that's how he is. So coming back now, I think Jyoti ma'am has been waiting for a very, very long time, and sorry, Jyoti ma'am, for that, false alarm, if I want to add that. But I would welcome you. So Jyoti ma'am is faculty at the Army Institute of Education, and she's herself a professor, and she's a mother of a special child, which I've heard that he's special in every way. He's been on news, he's been a newsmaker for sure in every sense. And ma'am, we would like to hear your experiences and your journey as an educator as well.
Sure,
And I'm
ma'am.
very fond of Lakshay, ma'am. It's an adorable child. When the first time but I saw Lakshay, he came to our school, and really I fell in love with him. He's an adorable child. And I wish they also grow up, these little children, all of them grow up with your support.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Aditi ma'am and Abha Foundation, for giving me this opportunity to share my special journey with very special Lakshya Tiwari. Ma'am, let me allow to share my screen. I have prepared small PPT. Yes. Hope it is visible to everyone.
Yes, Jyoti ma'am, we can see it.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. So this is Lakshya Tiwari, and I am a proud mother of 21-year-old Lakshya, and he diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 3.6 months. As ma'am has already told, my journey and Neha ma'am's journey is almost similar, but the difference is that that time awareness was not there. So ma'am, I can't move my slide. Just yes. So this is the Lakshya Tiwari at his early age, and his all milestones were absolutely normal. He was born on 4th January 2001, and my delivery was normal. But at that time, the doctors were saying that his head was little bigger than the others. So they used forceps that I had. I had in the memory that they used forceps, and later when I go through the studies and the articles related the causes of autism spectrum disorder, so this might be the cause of this problem, that they used forceps at the time of my normal delivery. And his milestone, apart from that, he is matlab, it's, the correct time he stand, he walk, the vocabulary, everything was absolutely normal. He was very cute, very active, active than the other kids. So we can say he was hyperactive at that time. Uh, the problem occurred when he joined a school, a nearby play school. Then the teacher called me, and after 1 week, they just called me, and she mentioned that your child is facing some issue. He's not interacting with other kids. He's not social, and please do something on it. But that time when I discussed with the principal ma'am and other teachers, so she was saying ki maybe due to the due to the nuclear family, and maybe he's not going outside. But at that time, same I have mentioned ki no ma'am, every day I'm taking him in the park, and but he was not interested to play with other kids. He was more likely on riding the bicycle, ride, swing. So he was like to play alone. That was the only red flag I noticed at that time. After that, he went to the normal school. So because his appearance was normal, his vocabulary was normal, and he was very keen observer. So he got a admission in a good reputed school in class 1. And same time, my husband is working in a software company. So we got an opportunity to visit UK. And there he got again admission in the school in Manchester. And after again few weeks, the teacher called me, and she mentioned the same thing. But at that time, we also, and the teacher also suggests maybe the cultural change and the everything is changed, the country is changed. So maybe that's why it's not social, but you can go for the test and all these things. We we booked the appointment and everything, but because we were there only for 6 months, and we again back to India, and he joined school again, and the problem is increased. He was not paying attention. He was not sitting in the classroom. He was just laying on the floor, roaming here and there, banging the benches and windows, and creating problems for the class. Teacher called me again, and she uh, straightforwardly mentioned that, ma'am, there is some specific problem in your child. Go for special education. And I visited all special educations nearby my area in Pune, Maharashtra. And that was the worst day in my life, because the situation of special schools in India, and that time I was talking about 2004 and 5. That time, the special school was only for the mental retarded children, the students who are having low IQ. And I was like, no, my kid is not like that. He is having good IQ. He can learn the things. He understand the things. He if I whatever I am teaching at home to him, he's getting all the things, but he is behaving strangely in the school only. So it is something else. And if I if I send him the special school, the situation will be more worse. So I took a decision. I discussed with my husband, and I shifted my hometown, which is Jaipur, Rajasthan. And I approached a nearby school that is not a very big school, but there the teachers were very supportive. They were not specially trained, but they understand that he is having some issue, and if we work collaboratively, then he will overcome from all these difficulty, because he has a good memory. He's a very sharp observation power, and the only issue is the social things. He's not social like the other kids, and the social learning is not there. The social learning was zero, so that was the only issue. But due to his sharp memory, he cleared there by the class 8th. He passed class 8th over there, but the bad luck, the school was only till 8th, and again we are stuck that where he got admission in class 9. Then at that time, the in Delhi NCR, the very matlab, the inclusion is already introduced. and many schools are called so-called inclusive school. So I got him here with my husband. He's working in Noida, and I'm shifted with him, and again searching the school. And he got admission in Colonel Satsangi because that was in the mid of session. So many schools are denying because on papers we are in inclusive setup, but that time only integration was there. When they know the child is having some issue, they try to avoid that child. So this problem was happened, and he got admission in Colonel Satsangi School, Chhatarpur, Delhi. He cleared his 10th from CBSE only, with the help of psychologists and the special educators over there. So he cleared all the subjects, and he cleared his 10th class. After that, and that was the residential setup. He stay over there. He managed things by his own. But after that, he starts some mysterious things like as the ma'am has just told, they are very easily provoked. So the students are doing the things, and he started the tantrum. He's doing some things which are usually doing by the other kids at the age of 18 or 17 years. The adulthood problems started. Then I thought, no, it is right time to take him home back. And I called him, and at the same time I contact with the cornerstone school, and with the help of their special educators and the counselor, and he did 12th class from NIOS. So my special thanks to the cornerstone teachers. They hold our hand at that critical situation, and they did the counseling part, everything, the therapy part, and they guided us regarding the NIOS, and he did 12th from there. And right now he's pursuing his graduation, and he's in second year, and he's having humanities, and from Gadwal University he's pursuing his second year. And before COVID, we started his venture with the help of Cornerstone Foundation. He started his water ATM in Venice, Grand Venice Mall. But due to the lockdown, the all malls were shut, and his water ATM was also shut, and he was stuck at home. And after that, the situations get normal, but the mall has a new owner, and they has their own water company with the name of Catch. And they told ki no, we will not allow you to sell open water in the mall. And then Cornerstone again guided us that please write a mail to the Department of Ministry of Human that who are dealing with the person with disability. Please write the mail to them, and we write a mail to them that this is the situation, and this boy Lakshya was running a water ATM in the Venice Mall, but now they are denying to continue for this. So please help us. The ministry called the mall's person, and they call us for a meeting, and they told ki we will not allow you for this selling the open water, but we will give you a space in the Grand Venice Mall, and you can open any chocolate or candy kiosk over there. So he just started a candy kiosk. The formal opening, we are waiting for the permission of the mall authorities. And very soon we will invite you for the formal inauguration of his candy kiosk. So right now he is running his candy kiosk at Grand Venice Mall. So this is my small journey. And now I'm talking about the challenges which I have faced, and the way how I overcome from this. The first thing is acceptance, because that time the people were not aware. As so I first time I heard the autism word, and that was not at all in my dictionary. None of my family members or any relatives are suffering with this. So that was very new term for me, and I was struggling. What should I do? The doctors was again the clueless. They are also, sometimes they are diagnosed with the hyperactivity, and later the next visit they are saying ki no, because if something interesting is there, he can sit hours to see that activity. So they are saying, and hyperactive can't do this type of systematic work. We in the notebook, so the hyperactivity is not there. Next time they are saying something else, and later he diagnosed with the autism spectrum disorder, because the social intelligence was not there in his case. So the acceptance was difficult for me. But believe me, till the time I escaped the issue, I tried to hide the thing, that things were worse for me. The time I accepted, then only first thing is acceptance should be there. Once you accept that your half problem will resolve, you are very relaxed, and now you think the positive aspect on which you can work. So the first challenge is acceptance. Then the second challenge I faced the education, because that time RTE was not introduced. Schools were not aware regarding the inclusive education, so that thing was there. And as I told, I admitted him in the integrated setup, so this was again a challenge. The behavior therapies, he were making some tantrums in the school, and I was clueless. The teachers were again the clueless. They are just complaining to me in every meeting, he's doing this, he's not sitting on a place, he's banging the chairs, he's pushing the boys. So the therapies, the behavior therapies, that I was not aware. So I got to know, I read the articles and concern the person, because you require the specialist, you can't do everything. So but the thing is here, ki therapist can't do the miracle. It is a joint effort. You and your therapist and the special educators, if they work collaboratively, then the things will change. So that is again a challenge. The next thing is certification. A big taboo was there, ki if you make a certificate for his disability, even my parents are saying ki he will grow when his age will come. Some kids are like lacking, they will understand later. So don't go for the test and all these things and certification. Otherwise it is legally certified that this is having this problem. But this is because to get any benefits which is mentioned in RPWD Act 2016, you required a proper certification of that particular disability. And to avail all these benefits, some benchmark level of 40% should be there. So we go for the test, and we prepare his certification. And in CMO office Noida, he got his certificate, and now it is certified that he is having the autism spectrum disorder. Again, I was not aware regarding the rights of person with disabilities. So I go through all the legal aspects of that. And in my next slide, I want to share all these things with you all, because uh, you might need these type of awareness in your future, because as Neha ma'am and the mother of Abdullah ma'am, they are very young. So in future, you will need of these types of awareness. So this is very important aspect. And one more thing, the find the abilities. Everyone is saying like, if the God is giving some disability, he must bless a child with some extra abilities. So what is his extra ability? This is again a challenge. Every day his interests are changing. I am not getting every time doctors, he must be having some specific area, ma'am. Please look at him. Please focus on him, on his areas. But yes, he is having a very good observation skill. His memory is very sharp, as Neha ma'am told. He's very good in IT skills, and he is having communication, like he speaks like little delay. The pitch and the tone is unusual, but he liked to communicate with other. Whatever the when he was studying in the cornerstone, so he was actively participating in all the activities. And as Aditi ma'am told, he was taking the food dibbas to the Grades International School. So he is despite of this social disability, he is very keen to interact with the people. So these are the challenges. And one more incident I want to share here, like regarding the certification. Initially, I was thinking, it is not necessary. But what happened when as he is growing, and he's very mischievous in behavior, and he's very good in IT skills. So what he did one day, he just find a missing information from Facebook, and he dialed that number, and he called that the family member, and he mentioned that I saw this person. That person was lost in Gujarat somewhere, and he called his family members in, and he mentioned that I know him and I saw him. And later he disconnected the phone, and the family member naturally contacted the police, and they are mentioning regarding the call. And the policemen of Greater Noida, they came to our house, and they are saying ki, who is Lakshya Tiwari, and he called like this, and he was saying that he knows that person. And we were like, ki, how it is possible? Then I asked the policeman ki, matlab, was the advertisement of missing was published somewhere? And they are like, they are testing us ki, no ma'am, it might be possible. So if it is not there, how he know the person, how he contacted that the family members? And we were like, that time we just called the Rakhi ma'am and Seema ma'am, that ma'am, this is the situation, please help us. Then Seema ma'am, we just asked the policeman that this is the situation, he is having the ADHD, the autism spectrum disorder, he's having the less maturity. So then, because they're appearing, as Neha ma'am said, ki, like the other disability, this disability has the disadvantage ki, like their appearance is absolutely normal. So people are not believing that he should behave like this. So then Seema ma'am told, and we just shared the certification and his reports, and then the things were settled down. So in that, like if you stuck in situation like this, then the certification will help, because the policemen are saying ki, by viewing him and observing him, we can identify that some issue is there, but we required the documentary proof for that. So in that case, the certification will help. I don't want that this situation will occur with anyone, but I'm sharing my experience that at that time, certificate help us. So these are the challenges. And as I told you, I will let you know regarding the rights of person with disabilities. So the first act was the PWD Act, the Person with Disability Act, which was published in 1995, and later it was revised in 2016 with Rights of Person with Disabilities Act. And now the 21 disabilities are registered in that. All the people who are having these disabilities, which name, and now the autism is also a part of it, and the learning disabilities are also a part of it. So the 4% reservation of all government vacancies are there. If they attain a certain level of education, they can apply for any government jobs, and the 4% reservation is there for total disabilities, not for only for autism spectrum disorder. All disabilities are having 4% of reservation. So that is a good part of, matlab, this gives us motivation. Otherwise, when I take him to admission for schools, they are saying, why you are investing your money or your energy or effort on his education? He will not attain the certain level. Why you are forcing him to learn? But this type of acts and laws will motivate the parents like us. And again, the 5% seats are reserved at higher educational institution for all benchmark disabilities, including autism. Earlier it was only 3%, but now it is 5%, and only 0.19% person with disabilities are getting higher education now. So we have the 5% reservation. We can take seats in any colleges. So this is also a positive sign. And as per RPWD Act 2016, people with ASD can access all legal rights, and they have right to access justice like any other person is having. As per the RPWD Act 2016, Section 14, people with ASD can ask for part-time or full-time guardianship dependent on the support they require. So this is also a positive sign for these people. And again, as per the National Mental Health Act 1987, a person with autism has right to treated like any other sick people in healthy and pleasant environment. You can't treat them like a untouchable person. So this is also again a solid act which helps parents like us. And as per section 92 of this RPWD Act, describe that the punishment of any discrimination against the person with ASD on and all other disabilities, if the person is discriminating or misbehaving with them, they may get the imprisonment of 6 months, extended up to 5 years, with or without the penalty. So these are some rights that we should be aware regarding our student. And at the end, I just want to end my presentation with this beautiful quote given by Scott Hamilton, that the only disability in life is a bad attitude. God have gifted us very beautiful abilities. Our kids are not disabled, they are differently abled. And as ma'am very nicely mentioned, that the societal role should be help to them, facilitate to them, accommodate to them, not create the barriers for them. Thank you so much. And I'm ready to help. If any child can contact me, if they want any guidance, although I'm not very trained in all these things, because I am dealing with B.Ed students. I am a teacher's trainer by occupation, but by virtue, I am attaching with this special education field. So I'm ready to help, and thank you, Aditi ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. And really, this is the first time. I have no idea what I have to speak, because I have never taken a session on this topic. So thank you so much, and you are doing a wonderful job. I know you are as a person, and you are a very beautiful from inside out. Thank you so much, and you are like a blessing for our parents like us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. I'm sorry for being in and out as usual, but thank you so much.
You are more beautiful, ma'am, because special factor is there in you. So you are very special inside from out. Okay,
thank you so much. So we had Dr. Jyoti Tiwari, who is an assistant professor at Army Institute of Education. She did her master's in political science and then did her M.Ed from University of Rajasthan in Jaipur. After finishing her education, she qualified for the state eligibility test for lectureship in education from Rajasthan in 2012 and UGC NET in education in the year 2013. She has been awarded a PhD in education. Her topic of study was content analysis of pictures included in civics textbooks, which is very interesting, ma'am. I would love to know more. I'll contact you after the program.
Definitely.
And apart from teaching, she is currently managing the responsibility of placement and cultural activities at Army Institute of Education. She secured 100% placement of B.Ed batch of 2019-2021, B.Ed BS SLED batch of 2022. So she received appreciation letter for conducting Ullas, an annual cultural fest of AIE, for 5 times. So we are very glad and honored to have you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your
experience. To mention all these things, ma'am, I am here as a special mom, actually. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am, for joining. Next, and I would say last but not the least, I would like to call upon Aditi ma'am. Aditi ma'am is the principal of Grad International School, Greater Noida, and the assistant secretary of Abha Mission for Social Health and Education. She has an enriching experience of teaching, mentoring, and handling children for 33 years, out of which 31 years was spent on me and other students in different parts of the state of the country. She's a certified expert in online teaching, blended learning, learning strategies, counseling, and school health programs. She's a CBSE resource person as well, and she conducts various workshops for CBSE. She's also the district president of All India Principals Association in Gautam Budh Nagar, an anchor and a moderator. She caters to inclusive education, experiential learning, and skill building in her school. Child safety, both physical, mental, are her priorities. So here was over to Aditi ma'am for her presentation.
Thank you. Acha, I'll do the presentation. Before that, I'll share screen and this. Okay. So, because let's see how do I work out. So this is the, yeah, I'll be, before that, I'll want to talk, just imagine Neha, Afshan, and also Jyotiba, that how my journey was very difficult, how difficult it was 30 years back. Because Anindita was a very fidgety child. She was a very intelligent, okay, and I'll share it afterwards. I can't see you all, so I'll just share afterwards. So Anindita was a very hyperactive child, fidgety child, but we knew that 30 years back, in our family, I mean, a very orthodox family setup, that these are the naughty, chill, shararati bacche, badmash bacche, or shaitan bacche. But she was very good in studies. Only thing, positive thing was that she used to top, or she was in the first 5 students of the, but we both the parents, my husband and were very tough parents, very strict parents. So ekdam bilkul pakad ke padhate the, and she was among the top 5 and maybe the top, she scored highest. She was a very good child, but a good student. So अच्छे बच्चे पढ़ाई में अच्छे हो तो सब माफ है हमारे देश में. If you are having a good नौकरी and you are good in studies, तो सब माफ है. So that is toppers, for toppers everything, IIT is toppers, everything is maafi, character maafi, everything else is maafi. So that kind of setup we have been brought up, and so she was naturally, by others she was, but I could not jhelofy her, but I could not, there's a lot of, and she used to be bitten up so much. My husband is an angry fellow, and what, with that kind of thing. So then we had taken this thing after we came to Noida. We were in a very small place, Kehelgaon. So there no opportunity of psychologist. Psychologist, koi naam hi nahi suna hai. Psychiatrist, you could go to Bhagalpur, and that to Pagal ki doctor. All right, psychiatrists were. So we had a very tough journey there. And when we came to Noida, and actually we were connected to through Dr. Amit Sen, through a friend of ours in Calcutta. She is a very good psychologist, Dr. Rima Mukherjee. She's a very eminent psychiatrist there, very eminent psychiatrist. And she connected us with Children First and Dr. Amit Sen. So that was a blessing. Dr. Amit Sen was a blessing. He is an expert in child psychology and child psychiatry, and he's a doctor, and he did all his research on adolescent psychiatry. And as you were saying, Jyoti ma'am, so I mean, Dr. Amit Sen's hand-holding was a rarely get rid, and he's a very great doctor. He's a very famous doctor, Dr. Amit Sen. So that was a blessing. And then, that time also when she was diagnosed with ADHD by Amit Sen, Dr. Amit Sen, then also my family members used to tell it ABCD. अरे मुझे भी ABCD है, इसको भी ABCD, तुम्हारा नया एक फैशन है ABCD, सबका ABCD है. So still now they call it ABCD disease. And also that the stabuse, that bachpan mein she used to wet bed at up to 3 years. So that was such a, I used to be scolded, koi training nahi hai, koi shiksha de diyo, kuch dikhaye nahi bachcho ko, isko tamiz nahi aata. And also, but that was then she picked up, because she was actually a lot of traumatized in the childhood. So she picked up trichotillomania, plucking hair, and that was another trauma for me. तो वो और एक trauma मेरे लिए हो गया था. Everybody stopped going to Calcutta because everybody used to discuss about her, and she should be slim, she should have a very long hair, she should be very obedient. Only thing is the study she was good in, तो उसके लिए कोई credit नहीं है. That all credits because my husband has got very, very superior brain. He's an engineer, so she got my husband's brain. So she has got that good in studies. और बाकी सब तो मेरा ही मतदान है और मेरा ही कुशिक्षा है. Ashiksha, kushiksha, whatever you say. So that kind of thing, and I did not give up. I fought, and everybody, even my husband, denied acceptability. Even we denied, but as you said, accepting was a really big challenge. Even initially, I did not accept, but after going to Amit Sen, really I accepted, and then my husband did not accept. I still doubt whether he has accepted till now or not. So he did not accept, and that was a family struggle. My mother-in-law said, "Arey counseling के लिए कोई psychologist के पास जाते, doctor के पास जाते, पैसा बर्बाद. You are in 90 PC, इसीलिए counseling तो I did counseling for my son. So you can do counseling for your daughter." So these are all nonsense thing. There's no point. So that kind of thing happened. And then you say certification. Then school में भी ये बोले ना class 9 में, because I worked in Vishwabharati school, she was in Vishwabharati. So in school में she used to attend all other class except for our classes. She was in class 9, कौन सी section A, and she used to go and sit till 11. There are 40 children. Who knows who is coming? Teachers doesn't know in 45 children, who knows who is sitting in the class. तो कभी वो class 11 में बैठ रहे हैं, कभी 10 में बैठ रहे हैं, कभी 9 में बैठ रहे हैं, जहाँ इच्छा हो जाके बैठ जाती थी. जो क्लास उसको टीचर पसंद होती थी या जो क्लास में फ्रेंड होता था जाके बैठ जाती थी. And she was in class 9 then. Just imagine. So then the teacher, her class teacher, they were my friends. They started calling me, and then they showed me what she submitted a file in board exam for in class 10. So it's the top cover and the bottom cover. There's nothing inside. So, so the class teacher called me and said, see, Anindita has submitted this maths file, lab file. इसमें top cover है, bottom cover है, अंदर में कुछ नहीं है. Then she told me that I'm asked the student to give you a file, complete the file by tomorrow or day after tomorrow and submit. Then me and my younger one whole night बैठ कर उसका file complete किया. I said, you have write it to the handwriting and we do the art work and all. तो drawing वो सब हम करते हैं. से सारे मिलके इसका ये कंप्लीट किए. So that was मतलब उसकी जो है we all together sat and that work इस तरह की मतलब that was a lot of, especially taking her to medicines, and she was another that उसको she is such a pious mind, उसको medicine लगता है, especially the psychotic medicines and the romance, that is also habit building. So whatever is habit building, where is bad for what to say behavior, so she won't take. So she stopped, she denied. हमने सर ये डॉक्टर सेन बोले हैं, अंकल बोले हैं कि habit building है, substance abuse के लिए use किया जाता है. So I'm not going to take this medicine. So he was given a concentration medicine advice, I still remember, but she denied. जे हम इसको habit building है, and I am not going to take. So that kind of, इसको चाय नहीं पीना है, सिगरेट पीना बहुत बुरी बात है, शराब पीना बुरी बात है, that kind of mentality she had. I don't know whether how much she has changed. And so then I had to cope up with her, but this is a lot of struggle. But you know that days, now it is much more awareness, because after the inclusion and right to education, the things have changed. Still, I'm really pity that people do not know, teachers do not know. I really feel very sad when teacher label, isko to padhne ka man nahi hai, he is a duffer. You know, one of my previous students was a very naughty child. Now he's a shooter. National, he goes and plays for the country. International shooter hai, and he's a 19-20 years old, but he was a very shaitan bacha. I know he has also some kind of disability. So that boy Shivam Thakur, so we had a group in the group that somebody congratulated, some teacher congratulated Shivam, we are so proud of you. And what he wrote, you know, how important the teachers, he said, ma'am, aap to mat boliye, aap mujhe duffer kehte the. Just imagine. So we teachers have to be very, very careful. I am really lucky to have a very good school, Vishwabharati school, and her Anindita's teachers were very good. And her principal, she is a really, what to say, pathfinder, or I imitate her, I follow her, I aspire to be like her. Mrs. Veena Vasid, principal of Vishwabharati, was Mrs. Vasid, Veena ma'am. She was an excellent principal. And all very compassionate. So then I learned that these are the things we have to learn. I don't know, as you don't know, I don't know what is lying ahead. हमारे साथ क्या होने वाला है, we don't know. So why label, why do वो मेरे को बहुत है, why can't we see everything with respect, with love? So that is really absent in the society. And I'm really lucky to tell you that Anindita has got such a groom also. They are also very inclusive, very, very nice people. They are very acceptable, but they're accepting, and more than us. Anindita की ससुराल वाले हमसे ज़्यादा accepting है. तो हम जितना my husband जितना accept Anindita को नहीं कर पाते, उसकी ससुराल वाले की ससुर, सास, husband, they have buajis, they have accepted her more than we had accepted her. So that is the very beauty of that, and that is the awareness that's happening, because her sasural wale, they are very aware people. though they also already have some challenges in their families. That I mean, sister, I mean, Buaji is a deaf and dumb. So they have this compassion in the family. So it's not always that to have compassion. हमें बीमार पड़ना पड़ेगा बीमारी को समझने के लिए. I could not have a heart attack to understand what the heart patient is going through. I should not have a what to say limb. I mean that cut to understand what the disabled person is. That I should not have a mental disease to understand what disability is. That is not the truth. That we have to be accepting all. So saying that, just I'll take you just quick through the screen share and that, because this is very important, that differently able children, rights and laws of India. I'll just take you in the educational perspective. All right. So just quickly, I'll take you through. Actually, as you know that we don't know the difference between the impairment, disability and handicap. ठीक है, impairment है मतलब कुछ loss है, मतलब I'm hearing impaired, but not disabled. मतलब हमें कम सुनाई देता है, but I can hear a little bit of it. I can speak. So that kind of a handicap, when you because of your disability impairment, when you face a lot of societal crunches, societal discrimination, then that is called the handicap. जिसके लिए जो हमारे society, handicap is given by the society. All right. So current scenario में, I want to tell you that India has the biggest population of disabled people or differently able people, if you say so nowadays. Okay, so 6% of them, मतलब 100 में 6 बच्चे they are disabled, and still this is not documented. Means हमारा कोई record नहीं है, कोई data नहीं है. Without data, you know, most of you are researcher, scientists, educated, all of you are educated. Without data, we cannot be sure of the scenario. So we don't have data because हमारे जो census होता है, मतलब जनगणना होता है, population counting होता है, उसमें there was nothing before this new one. There was nothing like disability. All people were, I mean, they were how many, just जनगणना होता था, female, male, that kind of. But people with disability, how many people, that was never done. So we never have that real data. Without data, we cannot come to any conclusion. We cannot research actually. The researches are, even education is now data driven. And now another very important point is that in our constitution, there is no provision, nothing like for people with disability or people with differently able people, those have crunches or those have challenges. They are all people comes under equal. So that was a very, very बहुत बड़ा issue था. Even now, most of the companies, as ma'am said, that most of the companies, they do not allow disabled people or people with differently able people to have that, although there's a law. All right. So there was a survey conducted where it was found that 70%, मतलब ये जो है, that the 70 responded company, 20 company have not employed any disabled, not a single one. ठीक है, तो उन्होंने, then the law came, census 2001 में first disability को government after that passive campaign, 2000 first disability, and we were freed on 1947. And the constitution is written just after that, during that time, 1950 में implement हो गया था. We had no clue about the suffering of these children. And then that after that census, then it was said that it is try and NCPDP, मतलब National Center for Promotion of Employment and Disability. Ma'am also told about that. तो उनको बोल लगा कि नहीं, now we have something to do. There are good people in the world. Okay, laws and protection, the ma'am has also talked about this. These are the laws we have, but they are not implemented. Actually, in United Nations Convention for Right, Disability of Right, or United Nations NCPCR. So, iske liye, we had signed United Nations Convention. We signed in 1948, 47 India, but did nothing. All right. After this, only after this 2001, and after the right to education was implemented, it's a wonderful right. Though we have many, many challenges. My school, as a principal, I face a lot of challenges, but it is I think one of the blessing to Indian population, the right to education, and that is really helped. तो चेंजिंग वर्ल्ड अभी बहुत चेंज हो गया. नेहा, what you are getting, Abdullah, what your child is getting, Abdullah is getting, and they are all very blessing. Even Jyoti ma'am was educated, she could fight for Laksh. So that is Noel, Laksh, Abdullah, sab, they are blessed because they have educated mom. Just imagine those who do not have educated ma'am. तो ठीक है, तो उनके लिए ये बहुत बहुत ज्यादा सोसाइटी फिर भी अभी भी द वर्ड लंगड़ा यूज करते हैं, काना यूज करते हैं, पागल यूज करते हैं, एंड पागल आर ऑल पागल. All right, all are pagal means if you have schizophrenia pagal, autism pagal, ADHD pagal, सब पागल है. All right, and कोई काना है, कोई बहरा है, कोई लंगड़ा है. This is the society still now. All right, but the changing world. So charity first, we had charity and no law means whatever we are doing for them, ये जो है बेचारी है, बेचारा है, उसके लिए हम कुछ करते हैं. Means जो autistic बच्चे हैं उनके लिए हम कुछ करते हैं. All right, and these children are really इसका पैर नहीं है, so let us do something for them. So there was a charity mentality. After that, ठीक है, charity से आया welfare. Let us do for the society, welfare mentality आया. I am the greatest one. मैं बहुत महान हूँ और मैं society के लिए, मैं अपनी school के लिए, मैं अपने इसके लिए, बिरादरी के लिए इतना कुछ कर रही हूँ because I am very great. That welfare law, but a welfare attitude आया. Actually, rights-based law is what it is required. They are equal to us. They have some disability, we have some other disability. So Person with Disability Act 1995, मैम भी जिक्र की इसको, ज्योति मैम. तो इसमें जो है, इसमें सारे प्रोविजंस है एंड बोला गया है प्रोविजन की बात, बट ये मानना लोगों की दिमाग में है, नॉट इन द लॉ. ऑलराइट, एंड as I said, हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में डिफाइन नहीं किया गया डिसेबिलिटी. व्हाट इज डिसेबिलिटी? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में आर्टिकल 14 इज अबाउट राइट टू लाइफ. आर्टिकल 15 is the right to property, right to equality. Okay, article 15 is right to equality. So right to equality में all come under equal. ये जिसका पैर नहीं है उसको भी सेम दौर में दौड़ो, जिसका पैर है वो भी सेम दौड़ दौड़ो. It was like that. So that is not fair. That is absolutely not fair. So that then we try to understand जो जिसका पैर नहीं है और जिसका पैर है, they cannot run the same race. This is discrimination. This is not in discrimination. So then there were new provisions added to article 14 and 15. Especially 15 में add किया गया. Directive principles, but one thing you must understand, जो भी ये हो रहा है, the center cannot do anything. It's all under state law. So anybody want to fight a suit, anybody want to do, ये सब state के अंदर आता है. State has to implement. So there are states who has implemented this law with there are some backward states जिसमें अभी भी they have not made any law to protect these children. All right, this is absolutely state based. All right, एक example भी दिया है, article 41. The state within the limit of its economic capacity and development make effective provision for securing right to work, to education. ये कौन ensure करेंगे? These people are getting work, they are empowered. ये स्टेट को ये करना है, दिल्ली में दिल्ली की स्टेट को करना है, उत्तर प्रदेश में उत्तर प्रदेश स्टेट करना है. and to public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness, disablement. ये कौन देखेगा? हम लोग टैक्स क्यों भरते हैं? टैक्स भरते हैं खाली रोड बनाने के लिए और फ्लाईओवर्स बनाने के लिए. दो. अच्छा, then right to disabled education. Education का I told you 2019 में जो inclusive education, right to education आया है, and that was a really epoch-making thing. So right to education has made everything. Though हमारी जो इसमें भी बहुत there is a lot of what you say corruption in that. तो वो corruption को fight करना बहुत बड़ा issue है. That's different. But otherwise this is a very good law, and it promotes individual freedom also. But the right to education is a blessing. All right. There is an educational law and examination reform in 2000. I was blessed to be a part of it. 2015, I was by my given a paper journal and on the case study. And I should mention that my case study was on my daughter Anindita. Anindita ki case study present kiye the SCBSE mein. That was a competition. So us competition mein I was selected among 60 principal of the world एग्जामिनेशन रिफॉर्म और एजुकेशनल लॉज को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए, ट्रेनिंग लेने के लिए और हमारे व्यूज बताने के लिए. So there I met some excellent principals, excellent, मतलब there Shama Chuna ma'am, and there I met this Sudha Acharya ma'am. So ITL school, they are the really inclusive school. And you all must be knowing that Tamanna Shama Chuna ma'am ki jo initiative hai, DPS R.K. Puram ki jo principal the, she was a very Padma Shri wala principal. So she was very eminent principal, and she started Tamanna. That was a very good venture, but she started the long back. So that we made them, and really there are very many good people in the whole of CBSE, and I came to know about lot of things. All right, that was a really very blessing for me. And again the reason was Anindita, because I'm the mother of a special child, Anindita. I presented Anindita's case as a case study and won that award. And employment also, as you see, UDHR, but the United Nations jo Human Development Index hai, usme how this is rights, human rights. United Nations human rights mein, usme they have the equal rights, but not at that. I said, I give you the example that ek hi doro, jo, I mean the fish and the bird and the hathi, they are asked to climb on the same tree. This is not right. This is not equality. This is equality is not. We want equity. All right. So ye ek baat tha. Now right to work, and there, as you said, the reservation for that, we don't need reservation for now some of the backward classes. Okay, we need reservation for economically backward classes. We need reservation for specially able children, and not on the basis of casteism, not on the basis of religion, not on the basis of, we don't want any reservation on the basis of caste and religion. Ye bilkul, I don't know kab jayega. And I really hope someday before I die, I'll be able to see. And accessibility also here, that you are, whether he or she is going to a school or work, to recreational facility, matlab, you know, it is compulsory now. Affiliation mein CBSE school mein dekha jata hai, every school should have a ramp. Every school should have a ramp for the this thing. Kya naam hai, to climb the building for the wheelchairs. Every bus, मतलब जो disabled बच्चा अगर बस में नहीं चढ़ सकता है, उसका दोष नहीं है, बस का दोष है, because bus is not enabled enough to accommodate the disabled बच्चा. मतलब जो child with a wheelchair, the bus should be that they can be taken up by a wheelchair. So the bus design is wrong, not the design of the child. All right. So that we need to understand. And now it is a law. Every toilet, there should be. I mean, there's something to hold on for the physically disabled person, and there's a wheelchair facilities, and all these facilities have to be there. It is now mandatory for CBSE school for affiliation. But anyway, corruption is still there. So barriers, lack of policy, integration. So you can see lack of data. These are the negative things, barriers to these children forward. Psychological issues, as you were saying, facing. So these are the barriers still we are facing. Negative attitude and stereotype in the, we have a good school. Still, I have to fight a lot with my teachers, with myself, with my, I mean, I'm blessed to have a very good management though, but I have to fight. I have to teach them. I have to empower them that this is not the case. We don't know what is lying, what is the problem of the child. Abhi bhi mujhe still भी लड़ाई करना पड़ता है, बहुत करना पड़ता है. So educational laws and reforms to examination iske I'll be talking about jaldi benchmark disabilities. We have mental disability ke abhi hamara chal raha DSM-5 is called. Those who are categorized in DSM-5, and now DSM-5 has a list of many mental disorders now. So those who are suffering in DSM-5 and more than 40% disability can have the their right to be protected, their right to everything, right to law, right to everything. All right. So that is what abhi jo ye hai, even physical disability bhi, all disabilities, all jo ability, disability, differently able, jo bhi boliye, disability is a disability. If I have a ek leg, mera kuch ek aankh chota hai, disability, theek hai, I accept that disability. There are now fancy word, we can't tell disability, differently able. Theek hai, every person is differently able. But at the same time, I have some handicap, which is to be पैरेलल, मतलब उसको अलाइन करना पड़ेगा सबकी साथ. So let us accept the disability. अगर हमारा ADHD है, let me accept I have ADHD. If I have a what to say depression, let me accept I have a depression, or I have some other leg problem, hand problem, any other problem, let me accept. Okay, that is that I have a disability, but that does not hinder. All right, CBC initiative for examination reform. I said 2015 में एक meeting हुआ था हम लोग का Habitat Center में for 3 days. That was extensive. सुबह से शाम तक meeting होता था, and that was very nice. So I was lucky to be a part of that, and there was a lot of examination reform on that. 2018 में then ये मतलब government takes a lot of time to frame draft और ये, so then there was a series of 2016 में भी हुआ, 2000 and then 2018 में ultimately Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment उन्होंने they said that there should be examination reform. What are this examination reform? ठीक है, this is for all the teachers and all the students, those parents, you should know that there are exemptions applicable for class 10 and 12 board exams. All right. पहले क्या था, as I had, वो जो ये भी बोले, नेहा भी बोले, and no, I mean Jyoti ma'am बोले, she had to go to Noida Medical Authority to get a medical certificate. For Anindita, it was more difficult. So thank God that Dr. Amit Sen helped, and we were sent to Ram Manohar RML Hospital. All right. And there I had visited at least 5-6 times with Anindita. एक बार assessment हुआ, एक बार appointment हुआ, फिर assessment हुआ, फिर certificate लेना. मतलब there was a lot of hassle. But then I got the disability certificate. But that is not to shown. जैसे कि मैम भी बोल रहे थे कि parents बोलेंगे ये disability certificate will be labeled. अगर हम नहीं बोलते, किसी को पता ही नहीं चलता, because she topped ये university also, दिल्ली का what is that university? Ambedkar University. Delhi Ambedkar University, she topped the Ambedkar University also. तो लोगों को हम नहीं बोलने से पता ही नहीं चलता है, only लोग बोलेंगे she's obese. That is the only. And all that I have to tell, but I had told people that no, she wears a wig, she has trichotillomania. What is trichotillomania? मुझे ही पता नहीं था. Then I had to tell people she had ADHD problem, she was a special child. Otherwise लोगों को पता नहीं चलता है, because there are so many people, students, like so many people are roaming around like Anindita, those have not been supported, guided, और not been even उनको ये भी diagnosis भी तक भी नहीं हुआ था, कोई support नहीं मिला था. So we got the certification from Ram Manohar RML Hospital, and then that helped her to get some extra time. Only she needed was extra time because she had ADHD. वो एक आंसर लिखेगी, उसके बाद पेंसिल को पेन को तोड़ेगी, उसको खोलेगी, उसको फिर लगाएगी, फिर कुछ दूसरे का देखेंगे क्या कर रहा है, फिर बाहर देखेंगे, then she'll come to the second answer. ठीक है, that kind of thing. So she needed extra time. So she was given 45 minutes extra time for every examination, and she did very well in high secondary and class 10 board with the extra time. Most of the people still do not know these rules. All right. So abhi jo hai, the law of disability certification has become very easy. You do not need to go to a government hospital. Any RC certified person with the RC certification, any organization, government, non-government, sabki jo certification acceptable hai. Disability certificate issued by any competent authority, even the school counselor, school special educator, agar RC certificate certified hai, and bolenge this child has got a disability certificate, disability, then CBSE will accept that. So that is a very, and they have an annexure one. You can, I'll be sharing with you the, ये हम आपको सबको share कर देंगे. You can see that that with the annexure, if you fill up, you can take the disability, this facility of the student for compensatory time. So if there is a paper for 3 hours, 60 minutes, 1 hour extra time they will get. Students with any disability, especially mental disability and learning disorder, उनको 1 घंटा extra मिलेगा. कुछ तो 1 घंटा में और तो कुछ लिखेंगे paper, and these are the time they will be getting. And categories of disability, किसमें हमें चाहिए? If somebody has got, I mean, we have a student of mental, cerebral palsy, okay, learning disability. Unko, some can get the scribe who cannot write fast. Some can get the question paper read and कुछ ये, मतलब उसको question paper का meaning समझा दे, then the child writes. Because the child cannot, वो ये नहीं कर comprehend नहीं कर पाते. क्वेश्चन पढ़ के comprehend नहीं कर पाते, so there should be somebody at his age or at or lower than his education जिसका लैंग्वेज अच्छा है, उसको हम दे सकते हैं कि इसको पढ़ के इसको मतलब समझा दे. But the thing is that uska education level should be lower than the child. So that and the child writes the book. You cannot get both together. Scribe and reader दोनों एक साथ नहीं मिल सकता है. You can either appoint a reader or you can appoint a scribe. जिसको reading problem है उसको reader appoint करे, जिसको dysgraphia dyslexia है वो reader dyslexia है वो reader appoint करे, जिसको dysgraphia है वो या तो motor functioning में जैसे cerebral palsy की लोग और भी मोटर फंक्शन में जो ये क्रॉस मोटर फाइन मोटर फंक्शन में प्रॉब्लम है, they can appoint a scribe. Okay, the provision is there and the provision is very, very simple, not complicated at all. But the schools, I'm very sorry to say, big schools, good schools, teachers, they do not know about it. All right. Other general facilities is that access to all the things, but the examination center, special examination center, a good school with all accessibility and all provision will be the examination center for all the special ability student together. It's not that suppose we got our student center in some school A, but this special child, all special children will go to school B because this school has got better facilities for specially able children. So that will be decided on the basis of the appendixes and on annexure we filled up for the child. All right, that is very important. And the school visually empowered जो visually जो impaired student है, उनके लिए school can appoint a teacher also. All right, तो teacher दूसरे subject का होगा to help the visually impaired child because he cannot see, he's blind. So the teacher can help him, but only thing is science ke din your history teacher should go and help him. History ke din science teacher, that kind of thing is there. So and these answer booklet, they have a separate set of question paper, visually impaired separate set of question paper. I mean on the basis of braille and the other impairment, they will have separate set of even the mental learning disability LSDs. So they LDS will have all different set of question papers. All right, we can ask for different set of question paper. Use of calculator is not permitted by the board, but in special cases, suppose the student has dyscalculia, if it is proven, then they can use calculator also. All right, so that kind of thing is allowed, but only it has to be on the rightful hand. It has to be unko rightful candidate with disability, computer bhi unko, they can write in the computer also. All right, but that permission you have to take. For disability, now it is very flexible law and very good law for inclusion, because now we have inclusive education. So question paper reader, in case of, I told you about this, our category is a disability for which relaxation in attendance. Suppose we have a student who has got this kidney replaced. He's got kidney transferred. So for him, 50% or less than 50% attendance is also good. All right, jitna din aap aayenge, it's good for him. So let him attend 50% classes or let him have a different set of question paper, let him be at ease. That kind of thing has to be there. All right, there's no registration fees, no examination fees for visually impaired students. All right, specific exemptions and concession for class 10th board exam, exemption from third language. They need not to take any class 6 to 8 agar special student hai, unko third language lene ki zarurat nahi. Flexibility in choosing subject. They can choose Hindi and instead of English, they can choose any other subject. Even skill subject bhi le sakte hain, home science le sakte hain. All right. Alternate question paper, separate question, alternate question, that is provision in class 4. Means they can have, they can go 6 to 8 mein, they can go away with third language. Class 10th mein, board mein, they can go away with one language. They can go away with mathematics. Mathematics lene ki zarurat nahi, if they are not good in mathematics. They can do without mathematics also. That is also possible. Specific exemptions and concession for class 12 board. Flexibility in choosing subject. They can choose any subject. They can choose maths, history, and drawing and music and that kind of thing. All right. So that is also there, choosing subjects. But there are certain, bindings to that. You have to follow the binding. Separate question paper and question paper in lieu of practical component. Those children who cannot attend practical, they can be given separate question paper in place of practical. Okay, so these are the standard operating procedure. I'm not going much into that. There's a standard operating procedure and they are very simple. All right. So test of human being is how he or she treats his or her fellow beings, the sick, the needy, and the disabled. It depends, the human being test of him, how human you are depends on how you treat your fellow being. All right. The heaven of divine wisdom is illuminated with two luminaries, consultation and discussion, and compassion, love. All right. This is all we need for the student and for our children. We do not know. Aaj hamare bachche, we are blessed with you think that you are blessed with a neurotypical child, jiska koi mental level. Neurotypical means jiska koi mental problem nahi hai, jiska koi disability nahi hai. But you do not know that what is lying ahead. All right. So you do not know what is lying ahead. We do not know what kind of situation we are going to face. So it's better to be very compassionate, very down to earth, and love all. All right. Start our life with love all. Okay. So that is all. Thank you so much. And hope we'll have a better world, better understanding, compassionate world. And though it's not very easy, but we shall overcome. Okay. And with that, thank you for Graz International School and from Abha Mission for Social Health and Education. Or thank you all. मैं thank you note भी दे देती हूँ. Anindita, तुम दोगे कि मैं दूँगी? Thank you note. You want to thank all?
You can give it, but before we end, I would like to say a few words.
No. Where is your poem? I'm special.
Yeah, that's it. That's so that's it. Before we end, I have a very short and crisp poem that it's
She has written herself.
Yes, it goes by the lines. I am special and so is everyone. Just like the sun, it's just a star, but if sun is a star, but it's special and so is everyone. So we are all stars and we are like sun. We are special. We are all special. Before ending, thank you so much everybody for joining. And it's a personal, I think when people say it's a struggle, it's not a struggle. As I said, as you all saw that I came in and went out, and there was a huge technical glitch today with my system, but I never gave up. So don't give up. And I think when you don't give up and when you understand there's a problem, I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, that once you accept that you have a problem, that's when you take help and accept help, and that's one of the half the battle is won. That's why. And thanks to everyone who joined, and thanks to all those listeners who will listen to the recording of the session when we put it on YouTube. So thanks to everybody, and may we all may we all think,
I'll have to thank you also.
Yes, but I will just say we all think and sail together. It's like a boat, and we are all together in this journey. And because at the end of the day, Majru Saab said, "Akela hi chala, main akela hi chala tha jane be manzil, magar log aate gaye aur karwa banta gaya." So that's how it is. People will join, and that's how the movement will increase. Over to you, Aditi ma'am, for the word.
Actually, struggle is struggle, because in biology, I'm a biology teacher, and struggle for existence is established biological law, and everybody, even the child, has to struggle to be born. And we have struggled throughout our life to be alive. All right. So struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. So that is also very important, that those who struggle and survive are the fittest ones. So we are the fittest one. So, and also I would like to thank Dolly ji for the wonderful presentation. I could see everybody is noting down. I think that itna note down koi nahi ki aapki session se. Matlab aapki session sabse I have noted down all the points and what are the AI solutions, and these are really very helpful. I'll be sharing those points, and very, very good. And thank you, Jyoti Tiwari ma'am. We are really connected, and really you are an educationist. So that is Laksh is lucky for that, and Neha, and I'm sure that your son is Joel is also
Noah.
to have Noel. Noel is
Noah.
Noah.
Noah. Noah.
Noah is also blessed to have such a wonderful, such a sweet mother, and also I can see some of my students also join. So that is very nice. The student, if you understand and you can overcome. Those who have joined, they can really, if you guess that there is some problem, learning disorder, you can overcome that. We are there to help you. And we have wonderful teachers, Charu ma'am, Malaya ma'am, Vice Principal ma'am, the coordinator ma'am. We have Neeraj Kaushik ji, who has been from Gautam Buddha University, IT department, who was throughout with us. Thank you, Neeraj ji, so much. And Jogita ma'am also, thank you so much for joining. And all of you, and I think Rakhi ma'am and all, they had to leave. And Abdullah's mother also, Rafshan had to leave because of the dinner time. And thank you all. We'll stay connected, and we shall overcome. I believe in that, and our mission believes in that good people can change the world. Education is the biggest weapon, the strongest weapon to change the world. So we can bring in the change the world with awareness. And I'm sure will have a better world tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining, and God bless you all.